7 minutes up to 9 o'clock. Dumelang, happy Friday. Welcome to the Clement Manyathela Show. It's great to have you with us here on 702. I hope you're well this morning. If you're on YouTube, hello. You can watch us on the 702 YouTube page. You can comment there, in fact, on the 702 open line as well, and I'll read some of your comments from YouTube. We start with the open line on 011-883-0702. That's the number you can dial this hour if you want to weigh in on any issue we're raising on the open line this morning. The WhatsApp line is 072-702-1702. It's Friday, and you know what we do every Friday. We do Gratitude Friday. This is where you can call us and tell us what you are grateful for this week. What happened this week that put a smile on your face? What happened this week that reminded you of how blessed you are? Give us a call or send us a WhatsApp voice note right now. There's something that happened yesterday that I think should worry all of you. So the Minister of Higher Education, Dr. Nobuhle Nkabane, the Minister of Higher Education, appointed board chairpersons of SETAs, right? So there are these new board chairpersons of SETAs that were appointed by the Higher Education Minister. But there are names on that list that was actually leaked earlier this week, that have raised some eyebrows. The ANC chairperson, Gwede Mantashe's son, appears on the list as a board chairperson of one of the SETAs. Mantashe's advisor has also been appointed as the board chair of one of the SETAs. The Minister of Higher Education, who has appointed these people who are linked to Gwede Mantashe, and there are many other people, of course, that she appointed. But when she appointed these people, you have to remember that she used to be the Deputy Minister of Mineral Resources working with Gwede Mantashe at the Mineral Resources Department. Now, the EFF Member of Parliament tried to ask the Higher Education DG about these appointments. I mean, if you go through the list, guys, it's quite shocking. The former KZN Premier, remember Nomusa Dube, the former KZN Premier, was also appointed. He's there on the list. Nomusa Dube Ncube, Bank SETA. You've got the former, I think it's the former Economic Development MEC of KwaZulu-Natal. I think there's a former, Economic Development and Tourism MEC who's been appointed as one of the board chairs. I mean, the list goes on and on and on, and you can see that here it looks like a list of also ANC cadres who have been appointed as chairpersons of SETAs. But what really raised eyebrows is Mantashe's son is there. Mantashe's advisor has been appointed there. When the EFF Member of Parliament, Sihlolonzi, tried to ask the Higher Education DG about this, he was simply kicked out of the Portfolio Committee meeting in Parliament because he was told, no, why are you asking the DG these questions? These are questions that must be asked to the minister because the minister is the one who appoints the board chairpersons. Right? Now, last night, the minister sent out a statement announcing the withdrawal of the appointed chairpersons of SETA boards with immediate effect. And in that statement, she says, following broader consultations with stakeholders in the post-school education and training sector and their council regarding the appointment of chairpersons of the boards of sector education and training authorities, I have decided to recalibrate the process, which was overseen by an independent panel. I mean, first of all, this is a lie. So following broader consultations with stakeholders in the post-school education and training sector and the council regarding these appointments, why did you make appointments before you consult with these stakeholders? No, following public pressure, following even your own colleagues, Minister, being shocked by your appointments, following opposition parties holding you accountable and asking what the hell is going on. And then you've decided to make a U-turn and withdraw these appointments. But politicians always want to come with this language, following public consultation. Please. It's actually quite shocking, because the ANC, after the minister makes this about turn, because now they're realizing that, the proverbial ish has hit the fan, then the ANC releases a statement. The ANC releases a statement, and they're saying that last night they said, we welcome and fully support the decision by the Minister of Higher Education to withdraw and reopen the appointment process of SETA board chairpersons in response to public concerns. This principled act is a reaffirmation of the ANC's commitment to ethical governance and democratic accountability. So they said that going forward, they are confident that the new process the minister has announced will be conducted in a manner that is fair, transparent, and fully compliant with the Skills Development Act. Basically what they're saying is, Minister, you are not fair, you are not transparent, you're not compliant with the Skills Development Act in these appointments. I think it's an indictment on the Minister of Higher Education, Dr. Nobuhle Nkabane. What are your thoughts on that? So the ANC clearly has been doing this for over 30 years, and maybe we had gotten used to it because they abused their majority anyway in Parliament. But things are a little different now. And thank goodness to the DA and the EFF for actually raising this matter, because on Tuesday, the DA's Karabo Kakao revealed first the list of these SETA board appointments. She was the first to tweet it. In fact, before she even tweeted it, she sent it to several of us as journalists. She sent us this list very early in the morning on Tuesday, or was it Monday night? I don't remember. And she said, this has come to my attention. I just want to warn you guys. I want to warn you. I'm going to be releasing a statement about this. So on Tuesday, the DA's Karabo releases this leaked letter showing Mantashe's son and Mantashe's advisor and other people, the former KZN Premier, the former MEC, and how they've been given these positions and appointed as board chairpersons. That's on Tuesday, right? And then on Wednesday, the EFF's Sihle Lonzi gets kicked out of Parliament for asking the DG of Higher Education about that list. On Thursday, last night, the minister reverses the appointments. And guess what the official opposition says? This is the MK party now. They released a statement last night after this reversal, and they're claiming that the minister has now acted because of its pressure. What an embarrassment. Oh my God. So MK party, they're nowhere to be found, even with VAT. What did they do? They marched. And then when VAT was reversed, they come back. It's us. That's what they're doing now. The DA is the first that revealed the letter, released a statement. The EFF was pushing for accountability in Parliament. The MK party comes last night. When they've been nowhere to be seen as the official opposition, they want to claim that the minister has somehow reversed this decision because of them. Please, man. I'll take your thoughts on that on 011-883-0702. WhatsApp's on 072-702-1702. Between 10 and 11 o'clock on the Across the Desk feature today, I'm going to be hosting Avid Travelers. There are people who just love traveling, seeing the world. The people who do this more often than others are referred to as avid travelers, right? These are people who are deeply passionate about exploring new places and cultures. They travel frequently, often as a hobby or a lifestyle, and typically seek out new experiences, whether through adventure, through food, through history, nature, or connecting with people around the world. And if you are an avid traveler or you want to start traveling more, I want you to join this conversation. Maybe you've got some questions for my guests and you want to know, as you start traveling or as you prepare to travel, what should be happening. At 11 o'clock, we are going to do our relationship and sex feature. So this is adult radio. No kids are allowed at 11 o'clock. Today we're going to be discussing navigating threesomes, foursomes, and moresomes, if you will. Have you ever thought about having a threesome or a foursome or a moresome? For some people, that is thrilling. It's quite a common fantasy. Whether you've considered it, tried it, or just wondered about it, the reality can sometimes be a little different from what you imagine it to be, right? When you're bringing a third person in on an intimate space like that, maybe even with your partner. So we're going to talk about how that can be navigated with our expert who's going to be joining us at 11 o'clock. That's the show coming up over the next 3 hours.
Clement Manyathela, streaming on the Prime Media Plus app.
DSTV channel 856,
92.7
and 106 FM.
Morning, Clement. This whole thing here, Mantashe's son, it's, as we were saying, it's what the ANC has been doing all along. And then yet you find in yesterday's reports, the ANC is somehow not happy with the way the media they are being portrayed in the media. Hey, the media. They are allowing the conditions for the report to take place. They continuously do the same thing over and over, and what? They expect the media mustn't inform the public. They expect we must keep quiet. They are the ones responsible for creating this bad image of themselves. And that is what the media is reporting on. How about they do right and then we won't have bad reports?
Hey, morning, Clement. Open for last. Clement, to simply explain this saga of the ANC, do you remember the comedy Mr. Bean? Mr. Bean used to write a letter for himself. Né? He slipped it under his door, he closes the door. Then 2 seconds later, he comes back in. He acts surprised that someone sent him a letter. This is what's happening from the e-tolls to tax, now the appointment of chairpersons on the board. So ANC is taking us for fools, Clement. We've heard it with the ANC. Thank you.
I mean, their statement is like, it's just so weird. Eh? And what, are we supposed to praise? It's like when VET was withdrawn, they somehow want to take credit when it was an ANC minister and even ANC leaders who were, Paul Mashatile and others who kept saying, well, it's going to be a temporary measure. And now their own deployee, a minister, takes a decision that raises eyebrows, that is so weird. And then because of public pressure, and thank goodness to the opposition parties who were putting pressure as well, the minister reverses that decision. And the minister wants to tell us, oh yeah, I've now consulted and I've decided to withdraw. Well, if you consulted first, minister, you probably wouldn't find yourself here. I'm sure somebody in the process would have said, hold on, are you sure about this person? What about this person? Aren't you concerned about how all of this looks on you, how this looks on the organization? Sizwe, you're calling from Centurion. Good morning.
Good morning, Clement. How are you?
Sure. Go ahead.
Clement, so to be precise, I'm actually working under one of the SETAs here. Nah?
Mm.
So the picture that is actually coming out clear now, the intention is to at least focus on something that they are saying probably they can salvage in the next election, because clearly this is just one of the state capture kind of an arrangement. Because clearly, how do you then define? I mean, people are just like it's almost like KZN. Your KZN cabinet is actually going to the SETAs, because if you read into all the financials of the SETAs, one of the SETAs that is actually probably I would say managed in a way that you would say, I wish I can work there, is your bank SETA. That institution is probably one of the best in terms of governance. But and you consider all these people who are coming there with their names in all these other previous issues that were in KZN, but being brought in these institutions. Definitely the intention is clear that in the next election, they must have resources that will benefit the ANC. They must have their hands in a way they will make sure that all those resources, they will make sure that anything that has to talk to the next election is actually their beneficial. So these people, definitely something has to be done. It has to be done. These people must just go off our face.
All right, Caesar in Centurion, thank you for your thoughts. Moshere, you're in Pretoria West. What are your thoughts? Hi.
Correct. Clement, look, man, I hear you about the MK. Of course, indirectly, I'm saying that MK is also playing part. Look, previously where ANC had the numbers, of course, we have the opposition in parliament or with portfolio committees where they will argue about the matter, where they will eventually forced to go to court because ANC had the numbers. Of course, now is your EFF and DA where they've been raising these issues, but because of ANC doesn't have the numbers, Now they're unable to take the opposition, and they don't have to go to court because ANC doesn't have numbers anymore. If there is opposition from opposition parties, ANC, because not having the numbers, they are forced to withdraw these matters, of which in one way we can say that the MK is playing part, but of course on the other hand we know that the MK stands for. But by reducing the numbers of the ANC, they also playing part, even if they don't raise these matters in Parliament. But of course the EFF and the DA, they're much vocal and they're helping in order to reverse this sense.
Okay,
that previously.
Okay, Michelle, wait. MK party did well at the elections, right?
Correct.
We gave them credit for that. I get it. They did well course. Because how they performed actually pushed the ANC below 50%, right?
Definitely.
That's not enough. As an official opposition party, you don't claim for the next 5 years before the next elections that, but I pushed the ANC below 50% and therefore my job is done. That's not how it works. You go to Parliament.
That's not what I'm saying.
So you go to Parliament and you argue things and you hold the executive accountable. So a simple question is, let's forget the elections because we've given them credit for that. That's amazing what they did in their performance. I'm asking directly right now, what did they do to put pressure on this minister as we speak this week before the minister made the reversal? What did the MK party do?
Clement, I agree fully with you, but we cannot reduce what the MK has done in order to put us in this position. I fully agree with you. Now they didn't do it, but because of the numbers, ANC is unable to take matters where we'll see the opposition.
Yes, but we're done with that, remember? We've given credit for that. So I'm saying pack that. Let's talk about this week. What did they do this week?
Clement, look, history is what informs us going forward. If we fail to acknowledge that only looking at the current state, we will be feeling us. We have to look back in order to progress. That's what I'm saying.
Yes, we've looked back. So I said we've given them credit there. They've pushed down the ANC. I'm asking now about this week. Please indulge me for this week. What did they do as the official opposition party to hold the executive accountable on this matter? Did they do anything?
They didn't raise the issue, but my point, Clement, is just to say that they also play in part in order for us to move forward.
Okay. So they didn't raise any issue this week. I hear what you say about the elections. I agree with you. This week, nothing. They want to claim victory. They're saying that, the minister is reversing because of us. Please, that's not true. They didn't do anything. The DA is the one that first even wrote and said, hey, something is weird here. And then the EFF on Wednesday was trying to push for accountability in Parliament before Sihlelonzi was kicked out. And then on Thursday evening, you want to claim that the minister reverses because of your pressure? Oh, please. It's 25 after 9.
Africa Milani.
Weekday mornings,
4 to 6.
Perhaps then, shall we move on to understanding what is needed for a valid last will and testament to hold up effectively in a court of law?
For a will to be valid, it must be documented, so it must be on paper. It must be intended to be a will. On the will, it must say, I intend for this to be my last will and testament. You've got to sign it, but then it's also got to be witnessed by competent witnesses. So people, it's generally at least the age of, I think it is 14 or up.
Brian Nickel is the owner of Freedom Financial Planning, talking to us about why it's important to have a will.
Africa Milani.
4 to 6 on 702.
My family's struggling with snotty noses and phlegmy coughs.
Oh no! Have you tried ACC?
ACC 600 is a convenient one-a-day effervescent tablet from 14 years of age. Or now also in a no-water-needed, fruity-flavored sherbet-like granules that dissolve in your mouth. Ideal for the on-the-go adult. Ask for ACC 600 effervescent or oral powder at your nearest pharmacy to get rid of the snotties and flemmings. And trust, if it doesn't say ACC, it's not ACC.
You know those finfluencers, the kind of bros making bank in Bali, calling themselves forex gurus, promising you can make money while you sleep if you just buy their course. But then you end up losing sleep, waking up for different market openings, checking charts, scanning the members-only group chat for signals, and you start wondering, why do they call it day trading when you're spending all night spending your money to make money, only to realize that they make their money selling courses on how to make money. Oh. When you can't trust overnight wins, trust 30 years of market-beating returns.
Coronation. trust is earned. Coronation is an authorized FSP.
In Lagos, a deal unravels. Johannesburg pivots. The world's a chessboard. Players wear tailored suits. You've watched. Fluent in ambition, but untrained in power's language. Henley's International MBA, Africa's sole international MBA qualification. Ranked, respected. We teach statecraft, not spreadsheets. The boardroom is no spectator sport. Regret, it's as sharp as blade. Apply now for April and July. Make your move.
This isn't just a walk, it's a journey through memory, through meaning. The 702 Walk the Talk, hosted by Freedom Park in the city of Tshwane, returns on Sunday, the 27th of July. Walk from the hallowed grounds of Freedom Park to the southern lawns of the Union buildings and some of our capital city's most iconic landmarks. Choose from 8 kilometers, 6.7 kilometers in honor of Mandela Month, or 4 kilometers for something lighter. The entry is 360 Rand for adults and 200 Rand for kids under 12. There's no parking at the start or end, so book your park and ride from Joburg or Pretoria when you enter. Sign up on primemediaplus.com before the 26th of July. 702 Walk the Talk, hosted by Freedom Park in the city of Tshwane. Walk with meaning. Walk with us.
Your voice.
Your station.
Your open line.
Walk the Talk with Clement Manyathela.
On 702.
28 minutes after 9 o'clock. Lifuku, you are calling us from the northwest. What are your thoughts? Good morning.
Morning, Clement. You know, this SETA thing is actually, it's a bit depressing, man. And it just shows you how our tax money is not respected in this country. And one of the things that give me sleepless nights when I Clement, it's this NHI single point of failure that could collapse our entire healthcare with these comrades. It's another setup they're doing for themselves so that they can eat money. And it's so, one of the hardest things that I hate to do is paying tax when I Clement, when I see where my tax money is going. I mean, how can this minister, there are no morals anymore when I Clement, how can this minister do what they did now with knowing what's going to come? But they don't care when I Clement, they wanted to increase our the VAT. So for me, Clement, in this country, taxpayers are really, really not respected. For them, these comrades and whatever, it's just for them to eat money. And for me, Clement, I really worry. And I pray that in the courts, that this NHI thing fails, because this is where these people are going to, even Gwede Mantashe himself, why didn't Gwede Mantashe say to his son and whatever, hey, don't do that. Don't even apply. Why couldn't he do that?
Well, yeah, and I bet you it's not just Gwede Mantashe. I mean, if you were to check you know how many entities are under various departments in government? You know how many entities are there? It's not just these skills development entities we're speaking about. If we go and check who are the board chairpersons, who are the CEOs, you're going to see a family tree there, I bet you. But this has always been the nature of politics over the last 30 years. And maybe that's where we should be grateful to the GNU. And maybe that's where we should be grateful as well to how things panned out in this year's elections, because there's no party that can now abuse its majority and do as it pleases. It can be held accountable, even in these constitutional or institutions like parliament, where in the days of old, they would just do as they please because we've got the majority. Well, things have changed. It's 9:31. Sfiso, hi.
Thanks, Clements. Good morning. The Umfuleni municipality has been subpoenaed to appear before the Gauteng legislature for failing to respond to multiple service delivery petitions, some dating back over a decade. The Provincial Legislature Standing Committee on Petitions met yesterday to hear 8 long-standing complaints from communities across Mfuleni, but only one had received a formal response. The MK party says Higher Education Minister Nobuhle Nkabane's decision to backpedal on recent SETA board's appointments is disingenuous. In a statement released today, the MK party condemns both the minister's appointment of boards, which it claims were full of ANC members, as well as the reversal of her decision. The party wrote to Parliament's Higher Education Committee Chair and the matter was discussed on Wednesday. And France has filed a case against Iran at the top UN court over 2 French citizens who have been held in Tehran for 3 years. The announcement comes as Iranian negotiators are set to meet with their counterparts from the UK, France, Germany and Turkey today for talks on Iran's nuclear program. Cécile Collar, a former 40-year-old literature teacher from Eastern France, and her partner Jacques Paris, in his 70s, were arrested in 2022 in Iran on their latest trip in the country. And those are the headlines. This EWN and more at 10 or as it happens.
EWN Traffic.
Well, at the stage in Ekurhuleni Springs, there's slow-moving traffic on the N12 eastbound approaching Pansy, while in Sandton heading into the CBD, there's also slow-moving traffic on Greystone Drive between Catherine Street and Rivonia Road. Otherwise, the rest of Gauteng not looking too bad. No serious accidents have been reported on our highways. However, just look out for those faulty traffic lights in Midrand at Old Pretoria Road and Allendale. Traffic lights still not working in Rand Park Bridge at Bears, Noti and the N01. If you come across any other traffic issues, please SMS us on 31702. We are also on X at EWN Traffic.
There's more EWN on air, online, and on the EWN app.
Your voice.
Your station.
Your open line.
Walk the talk with Clement Manyathela
on 702.
It's just after 9:33. Let's go back to your calls on 011-883-0702. WhatsApp's first on 072-702-1702.
Good morning, Clement. The MK are just like the ANC, stealing the credit where the credit is not due to them. So even they besides stealing and being corrupt, like the ANC, they even steal the credit that they don't deserve. Yeah, Jeffrey Senton.
Hi, Clement. You know, with the SETAs, it's very painful. How I wish the DA and the EFF can really just lobby for the closure of the SETAs. The corruption that is happening there when it comes to procurement. I'm not surprised with these appointments. The SETAs, we don't need them.
Morning, Clement. I'm not really a member or supporter of the EFF or the DA, but it seems like those two parties, they're doing a good job. They're holding people accountable there by Parliament. They must keep it up.
Morning, Clement. This is the typical behavior of the AFC. When they cause a problem, they fix it, and then they praise themselves. I mean, look at this, them patting themselves on the back on this appointment, claiming that, we're a party that listens. I mean, isn't that weird? Typical behavior. Cause a problem, Opro, fix it. There you go. We're a party that listens. That's creepy. Prince in Bedfordview.
Prince. Tabiso, you're in Polokwane. Hi.
Hi, Clement.
Sure.
Clement, I'm asking myself as to what would have the DG said if Ndlovu was allowed to ask that question, because that's worrying that you have a department that the chair of the portfolio committee did not allow that question to happen. And to mention that the person came late is not that they're not there, because when a person comes late, you bring him on board to say, this is what we've discussed, we're bringing the department next week and all over. But just to check him out, it clearly shows that as a problem. But I've also been following the the portfolio committee on higher education. There is a lot of bullying there, and some of them is happening to institutions of higher learning, and led by the chair himself. It clearly shows that there's something that is wrong that is happening on that particular side in terms of being able to monitor. Because you can interrogate without bullying other individuals, whether it's department or institutions of higher learning, but you can interrogate people, make them to be accountable without bullying and without being insulted. I mean, we had seen at some point the chair writing a particular letter, we don't know, in the evening with a lot of punctuation and spelling mistake, putting it on Facebook. So now, what I'm trying to say is that it's a matter that the portfolio committee must be looked at it very deeply in terms of its conduct and how are they doing things. But of course, we must appreciate the withdrawal of the chairperson. But the last question would be, Clement, SETAs they themselves are not only chairpersons. What about other members of the portfolio committee who are forming part of those boards in all those particular SETAs? Why announce the chairpersons only? Why can't you announce all? So that we know there is Clement, there is this one and this one, these are the qualifications and all of that and all of those.
Yeah. Tabiso in Polokwane, got you. Thank you. Spiwe and Sindile, I'll start with your calls after this.
702 Afternoons
with Relebohile Maboja, 1 to 3 p.m.
In terms of some of those things, I mean, many people know that monks, for example, are celibate. Can you share with us what are some of the rules, if we're going to call it that, that they have to follow?
In spiritually progressive cultures, there's progressions. So the first stage would be your student life, which would be synonymous with us, let's say from primary school all the way to tertiary education. So during this time, there's a strong induction into moral and social responsibilities of the individual.
Devoted monk Vrajabasi Das Prabhu.
702 Afternoons
with Relebohile Maboja.
Let's walk the talk.
So, how did it go?
Oh, just perfect. The drive, so comfortable. The panoramic sunroof, my highlight.
But what about the date?
He was nice, but the Jolian Pro, next level.
Sometimes the drive is the best part. The Haval Jolian Pro from 4399 per month. Visit gwm.coza for T's and C's and to book a test drive. Go with more. Go with GWM.
In business, a rand saved is a rand earned. And almost 100,000 businesses trust Outsurance.
We in the eye care industry, we're saving over 1,200 Rand a month. To all the business owners, you've got nothing to lose by giving Outsurance a chance to quote on your business insurance. It's true to say that you always get something out with Outsurance.
For your business insurance, contact Outsurance to see how much your business could save. SMS quote to 43503 for immediate cover or visit outsurance.co.za today. A licensed insurer in FSP. T's and C's online.
To walk the talk is to turn words into meaningful actions. And it's what we at 702 are committed to doing every day. We're also committed to following the rules set out by the Broadcasting Complaints Commission's Code of Conduct. To give you balanced programming, fair comment, and accurate news. But if we stumble along the way and you feel we're not living up to the code, let us know on comment@702.co.za. And if after that you're still not happy, you can direct your complaint in writing to the Broadcasting Complaints Commission, PO Box 412365, Craig Hall 2024. For more, visit bccsa.co.za.
Let's talk.
We're listening.
Hey guys, Wandi Lembambeni here. I'm super excited for this Sunday, 18th of May, for the Music in the Garden series that's happening at Walter Sisulu Botanical Gardens. I can't wait to see you there. Tickets are available. Get them on Web Tickets right now, and we will see you Sunday.
Your voice.
Your station.
Your open line.
Walk the talk with Clement Manyathela
on 702.
20 minutes before 10 o'clock. Sindile, you're calling from Brachiso. Good morning. Hi, Spiwe, hi.
Hi, are you okay?
Sharp, man, go ahead.
Hey, just want to comment with this SETA thing in regards to the MK. I'm personally not surprised with the way MK reacted towards this. Remember, when they are campaigning, even their president, Jacob Zuma, said they are doing what they are doing. They are rescuing ANC. So for me, actually, MK is just an extension of ANC.
Mm-hmm.
Instead of having being a opposition, you know, the main opposition in parliament, we're seeing EFF and DA acting in those positions. And I feel pity for people that voted for the MK, hoping it will bring change. Yet it's just an addition and extension to ANC to rubber stamp all this corruption.
All right, Spiwe in Joburg, thank you for your thoughts. Sindile, what do you think? You are in Kagiso. Hi.
Let me bring something to your attention. There's a guy called Ngola. You can Google him. He's an MK member. He's one of the members of that committee. He was vocal in taking out SETA loans. You must Google him. He's one of those two guys who were sitting together during that video. He's Ngola. He's an MK member. Now they are taking credit for taking out Sihle. And there's a video that they've made, the chairperson made. There were 4 of them in a car going to work. They were making a video introducing themselves that they're going in a car. They are friends from the ANC. There's a video. Check on what and check the chairperson's name and go to YouTube. I think it's Facebook where they've made a video together, the 4 of them. And the PA guy, Souls, was also vocal in taking out Sihle. The PA lady, the white lady that was there, not the PA, the DA lady. I think the DA lady was confusing me because they are the ones who started with this issue. She was also vocal in saying Sihle was not supposed to ask that question. All of them, they were against him, including all the rest of the parties, not only the ANC. Let's look at those guys because they played a role. When the chairperson was taking out Sihle, they were supporting him. So what does that say about all of those parties? Let's not only look at the ANC. All of them were complicit in that issue.
Yeah, and I interviewed the chair of that portfolio committee, Sindile. In fact, maybe let me play you a clip of what he said to me. I interviewed him last night on Face the Nation, and I was asking why did you call security to take out Sihle, who's a member of the EFF in Parliament, out of that meeting for just basically asking the DG a question of, are you aware of these board appointments? And apparently the committee had decided that, we're not going to get into that. The minister is going to come and account on that because the minister is the one who makes appointments. And I thought, but this is Parliament. If there's an issue that South Africans are concerned about, if they're seeing names of politicians' children and advisors being put as board chairpersons and they're concerned about that, what is wrong with a member of Parliament asking a question? Because the DG doesn't have to get into the details of how the appointments are made. The DG could have said, we're aware of that. Are they concerned or not? Or will come later. The minister will come later to account of that, but we are aware of those appointments. Because some people thought that maybe the list that was leaked is actually not even true. They thought it's fake news. They thought that it's been manipulated. So if you have an accounting officer there in Parliament, but they get shielded from responding to a basic question, just give him an opportunity to say, yes, the list is true, but the minister will elaborate on it. Or the list is fake, so that South Africans at least know what's going on. Here's what Nobuhle, who's the chairperson of that portfolio committee on higher education, said when I was asking about this issue last night.
The question that he was asking, though, is whether the DG appointments have been made and aware that Gwede Mantashe's son has been appointed as the chair of SETA board and that his advisor has also been appointed. And I suppose the point I'm trying to make, Nobuhle, is that is an issue that has really concerned a lot of South Africans. Many people have seen that list that has been leaked. And the question they've had is, oh my goodness, is this true? Couldn't it have worked for an assurance to come from a DG of higher education to say, I can't get into the details. The minister will come and explain what happened because she makes the appointments. But here's what I can share with South Africans who are rightfully concerned about these appointments that are really raising eyebrows. Because that's what Parliament is there for, right?
Yeah, no, the first thing we must clarify is that that's not the question he asked. I think the question he asked was that, DG, are you aware of the appointments that have been made? And he only mentioned the name of Minister Mantashe's child when he was being evicted. I think if you can check the video, it will confirm that part. But members of the portfolio committee who took a resolution, had many questions to ask to the DG. But we correctly said the DG has got, the department has got absolutely no role to play in the appointment of anybody in the SETAs. That is Section 11 of the Skills Development Act that gives the minister. We had then agreed that asking the DG will be asking for gossip in Parliament. The DG does not play a role. The minister does not report to the DG. If the minister was reporting to the DG, would have allowed the DG to say, yes, the minister has appointed and has sent me the list, but the minister has no obligation to send to the DG, has no obligation to send, and therefore we said we will now be reducing the meeting to gossip.
But who do the SETAs then respond and report to? Do they report to the minister? Do they report to the DG? Because the DG is the accounting officer, isn't it? Even though appointments are made by the minister, who interfaces with the SETAs? It's not the minister, it's the DG who's the accounting officer. So it would be weird for us to say, oh, the minister makes the appointment, but the DG of the department has no idea of what appointments have been made to which SETAs and which board chairpersons have been appointed. Wouldn't that be weird?
It's actually not true. The accounting authorities of the SETAs account to the minister. The legislation is clear that the DG plays no role in the even interfacing. The DG can't even tell the board of any SETA that they must do X, Y, and Z, because legislation is very clear that the minister will interface with the board chair or the accounting authority chair of the SETA, and not anybody else in that space. So Skills Development Act was crafted in that way. Why? We can ask ourselves those questions, but the DG does not play any role, even on accountability of it.
Yeah, so that's what he says about the difference between the DG and the minister's roles. And then I went to look at the functions of SETAs, and 10 section 1 says a SETA must report to the Director General on its income and expenditure and implementation of its sector skills plan. So SETAs are required to report to the Director General of the Department of Higher Education and Training on the efficient use of the funds. Yes, the DG may not be the one that sends instructions, whether to the CEOs or the chairpersons, and of course nothing stops the minister from meeting with the chairpersons and the CEOs as well. But you can't want to argue that there is no role completely that a DG who's an accounting officer plays in as far as SETAs are concerned. You can argue that they don't interface at all. So when the department gives us feedback on the incredible work or failure of the work of the SETAs, who does that if it's not the accounting officer? And if they don't interface at all with the SETAs, where do they get that information if the DG is not allowed to interface with these organizations? It's 10 before 10.
Every time we are on the radio,
we are not just talking.
we're turning words into actions.
Actions that change communities.
Actions that make a difference. And every time you tune into 702,
you're not just listening to the radio, you're in conversation with us.
And your voice matters. You're on a journey with us.
And every step we take counts. It's these steps that not only help us grow as individuals,
but also bring us together as a society.
Through the good times and the bad.
Every step gets us closer to the South Africa we want to be.
So keep walking with 702.
And let's make this a journey to remember.
702.
Let's walk the talk.
You know, ever since I adopted positive energy-saving behaviors, the National Grid is thanking me. You should also adopt this lifestyle and your pocket will thank you too. Simply switch off non-essential appliances and lights when they're not in use. Reduce your geyser temperature to 60 degrees Celsius. Replace inefficient lights with LED lights. These are some of the ways you can use electricity wisely to help sustain our energy grid and contribute to a greener planet. Just like every rand counts, every kilowatt counts. Let's use electricity wisely. Eskom.
Honey, what are you doing?
I'm stretching for tonight.
I thought you're not dancing at bachelorette parties anymore.
Baby, we need the money to put Johnny through matric mos.
And what's the police uniform for?
The clients feel safer when I wear it.
No, man, just sell your bucky to We Buy Cars. They give the best prices and they pay you within minutes.
Okay, but can I just go and dance one more time, please? You know how much I love it.
No, the buyer's already on his way here.
Wow, okay.
Strapped for cash? Just sell your vehicle to We Buy Cars. The easiest way to sell your car by far.
Dear Journal, trying to be an adult, day 3,268. I love payday because my salary would look huge to 15-year-old me, but that's in 2011 money, not 2024 money. 28-year-old me is not so easily impressed.
Recently removed from the family payroll.
get covered at pineapple.co.za. It's like 570 Rand a month, so it's 100% the insurance for you. Underwritten by Old Mutual Alternative Risk Transfer Insurer Limited, a licensed non-life insurer and authorized FSP. Premiums are risk profile dependent.
Your voice,
Your station.
your open line
Walk the talk with Clement Manyathela.
on 702.
8 minutes before 10 o'clock. Mpo Nawa, you calling from Randburg. Good morning. Hi, Mpo.
Hello, how are you?
I'm all right, thanks. Go ahead.
I'm fine. No, I think you have a good point because let me start this way. You know, I'm a member of the ANC and I believe in it. But I don't think it was fair for that EFF guy to be treated the way he was treated. I mean, the question was straightforward. Are you aware or are you not aware? And the answer should be, yes, can talk. Because when you invite such senior people in parliament, you don't invite them to keep quiet. You only invite them to offer answers to questions that are raised for their department. Now, I don't understand why the guy was suppressed. It was strange that, let's assume that guy arrived late and therefore there was a decision taken. But I think the question was very straightforward. If you are late, please next time don't come late. Please, did you tell him what it is? The guy was supposed to say, no, I'm not aware or I'm aware.
That's it.
There. And that's it. Then the meeting is over.
Yeah.
Then the drama comes to pull the guy out. I mean, it was so ugly. And Parliament is a space for democratic discussions. So people have the right to ask questions. That's why they are members. So I think the chair misjudged the question. I don't know what he misjudged. Because when you do that way, people think you are hiding something. And that's why sometimes corruption, with its perception, is blown out of proportion because people don't want to be transparent and straight and keep the decorum of the parliament. People ask questions and they are answered. Period.
No, absolutely.
So I agree with you that the guy was supposed to be allowed to answer. I mean, you can't be so senior. DG means you are an accounting officer. You are second after none in the department.
Yeah.
So everything it must be in your fingertips. And I agree that he might not have played a role in appointing. But the question was whether you have appointed. The question was whether are you aware. You see?
Mponawa, thank you so much for your contribution. It's 5 minutes now before 10 o'clock.
If he does not have the direct answer to the question, then he must just say that the minister will come and clarify those things. He's a DG for what? Is it the under which department is he serving? He's directing what? Is a DG for water and sanitation, or is he a DG for road and transport? These things they are happening, and then under his watch. If he does not know what to say, then he must go. He's got no business. He's got no business. He's a DG, but nothing. He's contributing nothing. These people, they are very naughty.
Good morning, Mr. Manyathela. This is Lungelo from Steeldale. Mr. Manyathela, I think this time you are making a mistake. We are falling into a trap of criticizing without first verifying. As a journalist, you should critique, but also seek facts. You don't know what MK was doing in Parliament because maybe it was not on television. You don't know what meetings MK was having. And by the way, I'm not an MK voter. I'm an National SA voter, but I don't think that we should be emotional, be reactionary, without first asking questions. You can call MK, can have an interview with MK if it bothers you. So just be careful on that one. But yes, well done to the DA, to the EFF for raising a point. And thank you.
Good morning, Clement. Clement, this is what the ANC has been doing all the years. And my biggest worry is what the GNU parties are doing about this, because they should have been vocal and refused completely. For Gwede to allow this, this is the ANC that we know, and this is the ANC that our poor of the poorest people, they keep on voting for. ANC is no longer fighting for poor of the poorest. They're fighting for their stomach. They no longer want for our votes to improve our lives. They want our votes to improve their lives. I'm worried about the DA, the IFP, and the rest on the GNU. Why they're allowing the ANC to bulldoze them like this. Thank you to EFF. Thank you.
Choose your health. Choose Clicks. With over 200 Clicks clinics nationwide, convenient and expert care is within reach. Our clinics offer wellness screenings and primary healthcare services for you and your family. We also provide mom and baby services like baby immunizations, family planning, pregnancy care, and more. Our nurses are available to give holistic healthcare advice and support. Book an appointment today at clicks.co.za or on the Clicks app. T's and C's apply. Choose your health. Choose Clicks. Feel good? Pay less.
Fayez will find you the finest Fiat, or if you prefer Volkswagen, Philip is your person. Sandile will help you go all out on a Suzuki, while Jason has your back if you're looking for a JAC. You see, our people know their stuff, and we know our people. We know that without them, there are no happy customers. There are no sales, no service. Our people are our passion because they know people like you. Bidvest McCarthy people deliver. Always.
To live wealthier, you need to be able to grow your assets. At Standard Bank Private, you get a team of internationally acclaimed financial experts to advise you on local and global investment strategies. Plus, being with a leader in home loans, you can start expanding your property portfolio. So, come live wealthier with Africa's best private bank. Apply online at standardbank.co.za. Standard Bank is an authorized FSP and registered credit provider. T's and C's apply.
You are never alone.
702 listens.
Hi, it's Kirk Whalum, and I can't wait to see you this Sunday at the Old Mutual Music in the Gardens concert.
Your voice.
Your station.
Your open line.
Walk the talk with Clement Manyathela
on 702.
It's 10 o'clock.
This is EWN.
Good morning, I am Sfiso Zulu. We start with news just in. Disgraced Dr. Nandipha Magudumana's bid to have her arrest declared unlawful has been dismissed by the Supreme Court in Bloemfontein. Justice Tati Makgoka delivered the judgment a short while ago, saying Magudumana's bid has been dismissed with costs. Magudumana was apprehended in Tanzania in 2023 while on the run with her lover and accomplice, convicted murderer Thabo Bester. She's accused of helping Bester escape from the Mangaung prison where he was serving a life sentence. We cross now live to Khomotso Modise, who is at the Supreme Court. Khomotso, another blow for Dr. Nandipha Magudumana. What did the justice say this morning?
That's right, Cecil. In fact, it was a very brief judgment that was delivered right here in the Supreme Court. Very little was said by Justice Makgoka. He delivered that judgment really just saying that the application by Magudumana has been dismissed with cost. Joining me, though, is the NPA spokesperson, Tunzi Maga, who's here. All smiles, I should add. Tunzi, it's a good day for the NPA, and you seemingly have been vindicated?
So that we've long held that the deportation of Dr. Magudumana from Tanzania in 2023 was a seamless and above-board process. No untoward conduct was displayed or pressure exerted on them by the team that escorted them to South Africa. We note the minority judgment that upholds the appeal. However, we are ready to unleash our legal prowess and arsenal to ensure that even if they go to Constitutional Court, they lose.
So we'll be hearing more from the NTA and the lawyers for Magudumana, but I must say that both parties will be studying the judgment, and we will be hearing on the way forward in this matter by Dr. Nandipha Magudumana. Khomotso Modise, Eyewitness News, reporting live from the Supreme Court.
The Mfuleni municipality has been subpoenaed to appear before the Gauteng legislature for failing to respond to multiple service delivery petitions, some dating back over a decade. The provincial legislature standing committee on petitions met yesterday to hear 8 long-standing petitions from the communities across Mfuleni, but only one had received a formal response. No senior officials from the municipality showed up to account. Mongezi Gogo takes a look.
The petitions range from broken basic services in Sebokeng and the ongoing struggle for housing and water in Tshepiso to billing disputes and the hijacking of residential areas where people have illegally taken over land meant for others. Another petition centers on the Everton Township mega project, a multi-billion rand development meant to upgrade roads, housing and infrastructure. Years later, the project has stalled with little to show on the ground. Committee chairperson Vuyiswa Gentile says Mfuleni's silence is unacceptable and warned that residents should not have to burn tires to be heard.
The resolve of our people to barricade the streets during protests should not be the language that is understood by service delivery points before remedial action. And all petitions remain open by the committee.
The subpoena means Mfuleni officials will now be forced to appear and explain themselves before the committee. Mongezi Gogo, Eyewitness News.
The Umkhonto weSizwe Party says Higher Education Minister Nobuhle Nkabane's decision to backpedal on recent SETA board's appointments is disingenuous. In a statement released today, the MK Party condemns both the minister's appointment of boards chairpersons, which it claims were full of ANC members, as well as the reversal of her decision. The party wrote to Parliament's Higher Education Committee chair, and the matter was discussed on Wednesday. EFF MP Sihle Lonzi was booted out of that meeting. The minister says she's reopening the process in the interest of integrity and accountability. MK Party spokesperson Ndlovu.
We've now come to realize, based on this violent U-turn by the minister, that indeed our observation was correct. The retracted list of SETA board appointments was, in effect, nothing short of cronyism. It is a clear operation that would have continued the ANC's corrupt cadre deployment network that has crippled our public institutions and condemned a generation of youth to poverty.
And France has filed a case against Iran at the top UN court over 2 French citizens who have been held in Tehran for 3 years. The announcement comes as Iranian negotiators are set to meet with their counterparts from the UK, France and Germany and Turkey today for talks on Iran's nuclear program. Cécile Koller, a 40-year-old literature teacher from Eastern France, and her partner Jacques Paris in his 70s were arrested in 2022 in Iran on their latest day trip of tourists. Gold is trading at $3,213.06 an ounce. The rand is at 18.05 to the dollar, 24.05 to the pound, 20.24 to the euro. Brent crude oil is at $64.40 a barrel.
In Meyersdal, Alberton, if you're heading towards Vereniging, there's slow-moving traffic. This is on the R59 southbound between the N12 Reading Interchange and Michelle Avenue. So avoid this route if you're heading towards Swartkopies, heading towards Vereniging. Also, traffic lights still not working in Edenville at Modderfontein Road and Van Riebeck, as well as in Alex at Marlborough Drive and Far East Bank.
A partly cloudy Friday in store for Gauteng. The temperatures will peak at highs between 20 and 21 degrees. The top story in EWN this hour: disgraced Dr. Nandipama Kudumana's bid to have her arrest declared unlawful has been dismissed by the Supreme Court in Bloemfontein this morning.
EWN, in touch, in tune and independent. For the latest, visit ewn.co.za or download the EWN app. This July, you won't just take a step, you'll take a stand. The 702 Walk the Talk is hosted by Freedom Park in the city of Tshwane. Get your tickets today on primemediaplus.com.
You're with Clement Manyathela
On 702.
Let's Walk the Talk, streaming on the Prime Media Plus app,
DSTV channel 856,
92.7 and 106 FM.
7 minutes after 10 o'clock. Dumelang, welcome to the second hour of the Clement Manyathela Show. Thank you for staying with us here on 702, and thank you for your calls, your WhatsApps on the 702 open line. Time now for our Across the Desk feature.
Across the Desk
with Clement Manyathela
on 702.
So on our Across the Desk feature today, I'm hosting avid travelers. There are some people who really love exploring the world, seeing the world, and they sometimes do it as a hobby. They do it as a passion because they love exploring the culture, the food, the history. They love adventure. And I've just invited them to come talk to us about why they love traveling and what is it that they love about traveling. What do they do when they travel? And I know there are some people that may be interested in starting their travel journey. Maybe you've got questions for them on what places maybe they've been to that you can consider going to first, what to do when you get to a country. So please, you can join this conversation. Maybe you're an avid traveler yourself. Give us a call on 011-883-0702 this hour. Alternatively, you can send us a WhatsApp on 072-702-1702. My guest this morning, Nadine Ndlovu, is in studio with us. How are you doing?
I'm good, thank you.
Good. Thank you so much for joining us. We also have a Gaynor, Neill, who's joining us in studio as well. How are you doing?
I'm great. Thank you for having us.
Thank you so much, guys, for making time for us. I want us to just start off by you telling us about yourselves. And Nadine, let's start with you.
Okay, so Nadine.
And also, how did you get into traveling?
Wow, okay. So I'm actually a performing artist by profession. So I'm an actress. And how I got into traveling, I was based in the United States for a couple of years. And as we all know, the United States is a huge country. Traveling to another state is like traveling to another country. And I just sort of spent a lot of my time there traveling, seeing new places. And then I fell in love with exploring different countries. And it became addictive. And the more countries I saw, the more places I wanted to travel to.
How much of the US did you explore?
I've been to 25 states, 25 out of the 50 states.
In how many years?
In 2 years.
Are you kidding me? There are people who've been there for so long. And
Yep.
Oh my, 25. And what's your favorite?
Ooh, I have
City
three.
So far, yeah?
I mean, New York City is...
yes.
But
New York.
Chicago's also... Illinois,
Really?
Chicago's really amazing.
Okay.
Los Angeles, I mean, the artist in me will obviously love California.
Okay.
But Washington, D.C., oh my gosh, there's a lot. Washington, D.C. is also really...
Okay, that's great. That's great. I think I've loved DC as well. I've loved LA. I've loved New York. I've never been to Chicago.
Chicago's
I'd like
really
to check
nice.
that out
Yeah.
soon. Okay, and what about you, Gaynor? Tell us about yourself and when did the travel bug bit you?
From a very young age, I think I've always been a bit of an adventurer, and so I followed a career into travel, which found me 30 years ago starting a career in luxury and niche cruising. So I've just developed a passion, for the destinations that we sell. We visit 1,000 destinations over 7 continents. Not me personally, it's on my list. And I've, through the career, managed to visit 6 of the 7 continents in the world. And the one that I haven't done is Australia or Oceania. So I've been to Antarctica, which was definitely the highlight of my career so far.
Yeah, sure. That's amazing. What was your first travel experience, Nadine? Like the first time you ever left the country?
The country.
Yeah. And on holiday.
Oh, gosh.
And were you alone?
So, I mean, the first time I left the country was to go to the US, but I would say on holiday was to the Bahamas, and I was with 4 of my other friends, South African friends.
Okay.
Yeah, and we went to the Bahamas, and it was, wow.
Beautiful.
Beautiful.
Do you prefer traveling alone? Do you prefer traveling with a group?
No, I am not a solo traveler. I learned that very early on.
I am.
I'm not a solo traveler. It's so boring. I need people to, I want to be like, hey, look over there. Do you see that? Hey,
Really?
take up my picture. I don't want to be setting up a tripod. No. No.
You're a solo traveler? You
I
love
am
that?
largely because of the business side of it.
Yeah.
I find myself going to perhaps events and naming ceremonies of cruise ships, and it's found me traveling solo a lot, and it's very empowering. I find it can be a little bit nerve-wracking at times, but you really find yourself becoming I don't know, quite an adventurer, and you have to do a lot of planning, and you have to watch, obviously, your safety, but it's quite empowering to travel alone as a woman, I must say.
Yeah, and obviously, I mean, it's different for me as a guy as well. But my goodness, traveling alone, Nadine, I think you have to try it.
I have.
Properly.
So I did Europe
Yeah.
in 2023 by myself.
Where did you go in Europe?
So I went to Denmark, Latvia, Lithuania, Poland, Germany, France. I feel like I'm missing out on one, but I
That's a
did all
lot.
those countries, and
I don't know. I've enjoyed traveling by myself for so long.
but also language
that-
barriers are a thing.
They are. I mean, just do Google Translate.
Yes, if you've got Wi-Fi
If you-
in that area.
But the nice thing about Europe is there's Wi-Fi everywhere. Just stand outside a
Yeah.
restaurant. It's very easy to connect to Wi-Fi. Okay, how do you guys plan your travels? Like, are you a type Gaynor who, like, you sit and you get like an agency to do that for you, especially if you're not working, or you want to do that yourself, your flights, your accommodation?
Funnily enough, Nadine and we were just chatting about
Yeah.
that before we came on. I do recommend travel agents. I always say I would never fix a leaking pipe without using a plumber.
Yeah.
Travel agents really are knowledgeable and well studied. Me personally, obviously, we run, working in the cruise business, but we do work with travel agents. I always recommend to do a lot of research before you go. Try not to look at too many pictures. It's quite nice to get a surprise of, but definitely if you've got a limited time, research where you're going, look for some of the highlights, look for some of the best restaurants, quite often off the beaten track. And so that you make the best of the time that you have, because you tend to find when we're traveling, we have limited time. We're away for maybe a week or 10 days. You want to make sure that you factor in relaxation. It depends on your interests.
Oh, I have to nap every day, guys. I'm sorry. Even when I'm on holiday, I need
Siesta.
an hour nap
You
during
can nap
the
when
day.
you come back home.
No. I'm sorry. I need my normal nap at least an hour during the day. And how do you do it?
So I'm a travel agent myself, and I started this when I saw how well I could plan my own trips. So yeah, I do a lot of research. I think, like she said, like not looking at a lot of pictures or videos, because what you see isn't always necessarily what you get. So a lot of research goes into it. But research, and I enjoy doing that. So I do a lot of research, and I see where other people go as well, and what's speaking to me at the current moment, and what's more affordable. Is
Okay, speaking of that, so how do you choose what country you want to visit next? Like, is it checking out where people have been, or do you think I've got a long list of like 100 countries that I need to tick for the next 10 years? How does it work?
So for me personally, I love any place with water. So the ocean, rivers. So that's sort of been my checklist in terms of destinations. I don't like to go where a lot of people are going. So I know at some point Bali was like the destination for South Africa.
Me too. So I went to Bali for the first time in December, because
Nice.
I also feel like that sometimes when people are going to a place, I'm like, I want to go when it's like
yes.
they get bored of the place. Remember when Thailand was like their place?
It still is.
Okay. Okay, so you check that out. And
Yes.
okay. And what about you?
Well, obviously, most of what we do is by a cruise ship. And you were speaking of water, and it's funny. People love traveling on or near to oceans and rivers. The beauty of that is two things. Is first of all, you get to, it suits my nature to see lots of different places. So one voyage can take you to a multitude of destinations, perhaps all around the Mediterranean in one trip. But also a lot of the expedition stuff these days is looking at, and smaller ships, more off the beaten track as well. So the big hitters will always be the big hitters, but it's nice to see more smaller destinations. Also, it takes into account this over tourism that everyone's talking about. So to start visiting smaller or more off the beaten track destinations also helps in that.
Yeah,
and
but you must
cruising's a
still
great
do in
way.
New York. You know,
Oh, yeah,
the
the big hitters.
The big
for sure.
hitters are
Big
there.
hitters.
It's just to tick the box.
But I also like to choose places that don't require South Africans to have a visa.
Yes.
Yes. Oh, can we have more of those, please? 'Cause
And
also,
there are a lot.
Guys, it's expensive
Very.
to get a visa.
Very, and difficult for some destinations. Schengen's easy. Canada at the moment, I think you're waiting over 400 days for an appointment.
Oh my goodness.
Ireland
the
is much the
UK,
same. So
the
the UK.
US.
Yeah.
So go to the Antarctic. You don't need a visa.
Oh, we don't?
No, not
I
at
should
all.
do that.
Yes, there
I
you
should
go.
do that. Okay, so one of the reason that I also don't like traveling to places when a lot of people are going is because I don't like being on holiday and I see people I know.
Likewise.
Why am I
Zanzibar.
Why am I in the middle of Antarctica and I see Nadine? It's like, hola. I'm like, oh, South African. And when in Bali, by the way, in December, the reason I went is because Black Coffee was going to perform on New Year's Eve. And I booked at this resort. And I'm not kidding you. Second night, while I was having breakfast, a South African walks in with her daughter. Lovely South African.
Yeah.
We ended up having a lovely chat. Third or fourth night, as we're leaving to go out, I see a guy with the wife walk in and they said, hola. And I was like, these are my guys from home. You just know. So I think for me, it's always that because I just want to be on holiday. Like I just want to know that I'm here. I can just have fun without thinking about anything else. What do you guys love exploring the most? Because I'm boring in that I don't try the food. So I'm a terrible food trier. Like I just want like ordinary things. So when I get into a country, if it's like Thailand or I will Google European restaurants and I'm boring like that.
And I'm the opposite. I was just about to answer your question and say definitely, clearly by looking at culinary. I love trying the different, anything cultural or culinary. Something, I was in Budapest a few months ago and I went round back streets and I look for where the local people are eating, not the tourists. So I saw the local restaurant selling the Bulgarian goulash, and that's local people. I'm going to go eat there. Same in Italy, Portugal. I've done so.
You don't have stomach bags or anything?
No. Well, I'm looking at my colleague. We may both have got food poisoning at a ship launch a few years ago, but that's another story altogether. But no, it's generally. Where locals are eating, you tend to trust, especially in Europe. Definitely, I love that.
Yeah. I love to try the local food. I mean, you can't go to Italy and not have their pizza or their pasta. It's just fun fact. I actually never used to like tacos. I've tried them everywhere: South Africa, the US,
in Mexico,
and then I went to Mexico
because they've got the best.
That's where they're from, and I only want to have tacos from Mexico now. So, I mean, I do think it's probably a great idea to try the food from there, but also do your research because there's things like Thailand. They do tell you not to eat the street food in Thailand because you can get sick. And I didn't listen to that, and I did get sick. But it's still nice to try. I mean, duck from Bali. I don't know if you had the duck when you were in Bali. But duck from Bali is amazing.
Did I? I'll think about that probably because a duck I have a duck. I can have a duck in South Africa. So
but the one in
Bali I probably do. I'll think about that. So the tacos were cool. I really enjoyed that in Mexico. Where in Mexico did you go?
I went to Tulum and Playa del Carmen.
Oh, wonderful. Okay, 011-883-0702. Are you an avid traveler? Where have you been? What have you enjoyed? What do you love the most about traveling? And if you've got some questions for Nadine and Gaynor about where you want to go, maybe where they've been, some tips on what to do when you land, give us a call on 011-883-0702. WhatsApp's on 072-702-1702.
Activate your next aerial adventure and launch into a world of riveting riches with Hollywood Bets. With so many options to choose from and more rewards than you could wish for, our range of multiplier games is jam-packed with precious prizes. Zoom to new heights with JetX and strap in for fantastic fun with Skyward. Skyrocket to success with High Flyer and prepare for the ultimate thrill ride with Aviatrix. We've got it all just for you. Hollywood Bets. Fly higher with our multiplier. T's and C's apply. Hollywood Sportsbook is a licensed betting operator. Hollywood Bet supports responsible gambling. No persons under the age of 18 years are permitted to gamble. Winners know when to stop. South African Responsible Gambling Foundation toll-free counselling line 0800 006 008 or WhatsApp help to 076 675 0710.
Mike van Graan returns to the Market Theatre with The Good White, a bold new play set during Fees Must Fall, told through the eyes of university staff, directed by Greg Homan and starring the all-star cast of Vusi Kunene, Skosinati Masuta, Russell Savadier and Renette Stearman. This bold new script leans into uncomfortable issues with wit, with honesty and a sharp theatrical flair. Catch The Good Wife from the 8th of May to the 11th of June at the Market Theatre. Book now at markettheatre.co.za. Safe and affordable parking available at Newtown Junction.
Whether you own a startup in Sandton or a spaza shop in Soweto, Standard Bank has the solutions to grow your business. For just R9 per month, our MyMoBiz business account gives you access to free online banking and a team of business experts. Our Simply Blue Pro card machine enables you to accept payments anytime, anywhere. Search Standard Bank MyMoBiz and Simply Blue to amplify the growth of your business today. Standard Bank is an authorized FSB and registered credit provider. T's and C's apply.
Some walks are just for exercise, others for leisure. But this walk is for something greater.
It's team building.
This July, you won't just take a step, you'll take a stand. You'll walk through history. You'll walk with it. On Sunday, 27 July, the 702 Walk the Talk, hosted by Freedom Park in the city of Tshwane, returns. It's a route that winds through the heart and soul of our capital city. From the sacred grounds of Freedom Park to the powerful steps of the Union buildings. Choose the 8 kilometer for those walking strong, the 6.7 kilometer in honor of Mandela Month, or the 4 kilometer for families and first-timers. Entries are 360 Rand for adults, 200 Rand for children under 12. Enter now on primemediaplus.com. 702 Walk the Talk, hosted by Freedom Park in the city of Tshwane, is where footsteps become footprints.
Across the Desk
with Clement Manyathela
on 702.
23 minutes after 10 o'clock, I'm hosting avid travelers on our Across the Desk feature this morning, Gaynor and Nadine. I want to hear from you as well, though. If you're an avid traveler, or maybe you want to start traveling, maybe you've decided you are getting into your traveling era. And I remember when I got into these guys, a few of my friends were like, midlife crisis, because I'm a guy that will also just, that will go, I don't know, over the last, 6, 7, 8 years or so, or 6, 7, 8 years, I have not spent my birthday in the country. Nice. I've always preferred that I want to be away. And that sounds weird to other people. And then they're like, and you go alone? Like, yes, I am. And I'm going to have a lot of fun. So are you a guy or a lady or someone who travels on your own? What do you prefer most, a group or traveling by yourself? Okay, so I'm going to go to some WhatsApps and calls in a moment. So I'm going to ask you guys to put on your headphones. I've got Neill who's calling us from Secunda now with a question. Neill, how are you doing?
I'm well, thanks. How are you?
I'm good. What's your question?
Well, firstly, I actually took a trip last year that was planned by Nadine.
Oh, lovely.
Yeah, so she planned my birthday trip to Thailand last year. It was
nice.
Amazing.
Did you go to Bungalow? Is it Bungalow Street?
I did. That's an experience.
You know?
Bungalow
Road, yes. Okay. Oh, God, yeah. Anybody who goes there is going to get home at 5 or to the hotel at 5 in the morning.
Listen, they do not sleep
They don't sleep.
Country. We were just like, a whole research.
Yeah.
But I think I have a question that maybe I can direct to both. Because I also am a little bit iffy about traveling by myself. But it's so hectic trying to plan a trip with people, because maybe when you're ready to go, but then now your calendars are not syncing or your budgets are not syncing. So I wanted to find out if they suggest things like, I don't know, like a Kontiki or whatever, where it is like a group setting or not, because I've heard both great reviews of things like that and then also not so great.
Yeah. And then by group travel, you mean like people you may not know, those groups?
You just, a Kontiki, where
there's
a planned thing, and then you get there and you meet your travel, what do they call it, like the guide and everyone else on the day, and then you guys just do all the experiences together. You find out who you're rooming with, if you are rooming with somebody, and so on. So I just wanted to find out their thoughts on that.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, guys.
Yes. Hi there, it's Gaynor. I absolutely recommend that. Especially, I know the Kontikis tend to be the 18s to 35s, top deck and things like that. But it gives you the opportunity of traveling independently, like you say, instead of sort of syncing up, and coordinating with a friend and to be able to do that, but in a safe controlled and planned environment where you get independent time and you get to meet people generally from around the world of a similar age and interest. So definitely it's a safe and smart way to do a solo trip anywhere in the world is to use one of those group
I once got concerned about the European one where they said 8 cities and they're like 5 days or 6 days. I was like, that means we're traveling every day.
Yeah. And I mean, the thing is, Europe, some countries are very close to each other where you can just take a train to the next country or a bus. So I think that's also very, very good. The Kontiki especially. Hi, Neill, by the way. So I think those Kontiki is a great way to travel solo, but with the choice to meet other people and other like-minded people as well.
So you still have space to do your own thing.
Yeah.
But you still have a group that you guys are moving from country to country with.
Yeah.
Okay. There's someone who's asking here. Thank you, Neill, for that. Someone is asking, hey guys, I have a question. How long do you guys think a vacation should be to fully explore a country?
Minimum 7 nights for me.
Nights?
Yeah.
Minimum 6 nights.
Yes.
Okay,
A minimum, again, we work with cruises quite often. So
Yeah.
a cruise, often the most popular one would be a 7-night cruise.
Okay.
But you've got to allow travel to and from. So if you're traveling, for example, to the Mediterranean, you need... I always advise to get there at least a day before a cruise ship departs, a night in a hotel. So it becomes about a 10-day trip. But like you say, minimum of 7 to 10 days to take in any destination.
I want to try a cruise, but I'm so scared.
Don't be. Scared of what?
Water.
If I may ask.
I'm just scared of water. So first of all, I mean, I've been learning how to swim because it's just a health hazard. We should know how to swim because if ish hits the fan. So I've been learning, but I'm just generally scared of water. Like when I'm on a boat, I'm just like, I sit there still and I just want to nap for an hour until we get to the destination.
It is understandable, and I know but it's such a beautiful way to travel. And I think maybe you've just got to sort of overcome that fear. Give it a go, I would recommend. Because it is a way of exploring the world. In our case, it's in extreme luxury.
What if the waves are hectic? What do you guys do?
Oh, you do. You do get rough seas, but not. Remember, our South African oceans. A lot of people have maybe experienced a cruise in South Africa. We have notoriously rough seas.
Yeah.
If you're sailing overseas, for example, in the Med, or we do river cruises. I did 4 capital cities in 4 days a month ago.
Yeah.
Traveling by river. So, and a river is just pull up into a city and hop off the ship or grab an electric bike. So you don't have to go on an ocean liner. But the oceans in the Mediterranean, for example, are very, very calm and serene. So
Okay, yeah. You'll recommend a few for me on what I can try.
100%.
That is calm and serene.
Yes.
Please.
Yes. Not local then.
No, not local. Mahlatsi, you're in Tembisa. Good morning.
Good morning, Clement. How are you?
Good. How are you?
I'm well, thanks.
Sure.
I'm speaking to myself from Tembisa. I'm a first-time traveler. I'm planning a trip. I've already paid to go to Lesotho next month in Maseru. It's my first time. I've never traveled before. Whenever I plan a trip, my friends will be saying, "Oh, you told us late and whatnot." So now, my passport is like 3 years old already. It needs stamps.
Yeah.
So I said, so I need advice as a first-time traveler. I'm traveling to Lesotho.
Yeah.
What are the do's and don'ts, and what should I be looking out for?
Okay.
At all.
And you're traveling on your own. So as a first-time traveler on your own, what are the do's and don'ts? I think do's, you guys have already said try the local food, where locals eat.
Yes, but also, as we've said, research. So read up about where perhaps sites or landmarks or places that of interest that you want to go. Make sure that you're with a reputable accommodation. You know that you're booking reputable services. Sometimes it's. You don't want to, you may need to pay for something a little better is what I'm trying to say. Don't skimp and scrape if you're traveling solo particularly. Put your safety as a first priority and book reputable facilities would be my advice.
Familiarize yourself with the country's language, the currency, money, things like that, payment systems even, and culture, because cultural differences are a thing.
And I would also say, from a solo travel perspective, always have a bit of what I refer to as a buddy system. So have someone that you are in contact with and saying I will be traveling between here and here, and I'm going to arrive at this time. It is very good to have a backup, to have a buddy system that somebody's aware of where you are.
Share your location with someone.
Sure.
And I would say maybe think about an eSIM. I mean, in Europe, not so much because, as I said, most of the restaurants, you just step out, there's access to Wi-Fi. But in some of the areas, maybe having an eSIM works. You still have access to data even when you're not at the hotel. That seems to work a lot for me. All right, it's 10:32. All the best, Mahlatsi. Enjoy Lesotho. Please call us back to tell us how that was. We're going to get the latest in Eyewitness News headlines now. When we come back, we're going to continue this conversation with Gaynor and Nadine and take more of your calls and WhatsApps. Good morning.
Thanks, Clement. Good morning. Disgraced Dr. Nandipama Gudumana's bid to have her arrest declared unlawful has been dismissed with costs by the Supreme Court in Bloemfontein. Magudumana was apprehended in Tanzania in 2023 while on the run with her lover and accomplice, convicted murderer Thabo Bester. She is accused of helping Bester escape from the Mangaung prison where he was serving a life sentence. Authorities investigating the disappearance of journalist Aseri Ndlovu and his partner Zodwa Mdluli say they haven't ruled out the arrest of more people in the case. So far, a total of 8 people have been arrested for their alleged part in the mysterious circumstances surrounding the couple's disappearance. 2 men who appeared before the Gwamhlanga Magistrates Court yesterday, however, have their matter been postponed to next week to allow them to apply for legal aid. And Indian Defence Minister Rajnath Singh says the International Monetary Fund should reconsider a $1 billion loan to Pakistan, alleging Islamabad is funding terror. India and Pakistan last week launched missiles, drones and artillery strikes on each other before a ceasefire that began Saturday. The IMF last week approved a loan program review for Pakistan, unlocking the money in much-needed funds and greenlighting a new $1.4 billion bailout despite India's objection. And those are the headlines. This EWN and more at 11 or as it happens.
EWN Traffic.
Well, at this stage in Alberton, if you're heading towards Vereeniging, expect some delays on the R59 southbound between the Reading Interchange and Swartkoppies. While in the Kempton Park area, CBD, there's also slow-moving traffic on Pretoria Road between CR Swart and Plain Road, while in the Pretoria CBD, traffic sluggish leaving the CBD on Paul Kruger. This is between the Pretoria Zoo and Madiba Street. There's also faulty traffic lights in the Midrand area at Old Pretoria Road and Allendale. Traffic lights also not working in Rand Park Ridge at Bayers Notia and the N1. If you come across any other traffic issues, please SMS us on 31702. We are also on X at EWN Traffic.
There's more EWN on air, online, and on the EWN app. For all your home improvement needs, Leroy Merlin is the perfect destination to bring your inspiration to life. Get a 4.2 kilowatt Totai 3-panel gas heater that was 1299, now for only 1149, and a KDAC 9 kilogram empty gas cylinder that was 979, now for an amazing 869. Explore all our ranges at your nearest Leroy Merlin or shop online until 27 May. Leroy Merlin, make your home the best place to live. T's and C's apply.
If you knew the future, you'd be brave. Well, now you can be with Volvo's guaranteed future value. Get your EX30 from 9,999 per month, and after 48 months, return, upgrade or keep. It's safe to be brave with Volvo. Based on 6.13% interest, 48-month term, 10% deposit and 52% GFE. Initiation fee of 127.50 and monthly service fee is 69 Rand. Total cost of credit is 904,500. Finance officer subject to approval from Volvo Car Finance, a product of Westbank, a division of First Rand Bank Limited, an authorized financial services and registered credit provider. NCRCP 20. T's and C's apply.
Oh, Shane, do you have a sore throat? The Andalex range of lozenges offers 2 options. At the first signs of an irritated, scratchy throat, use Andalex lozenges for dual action, soothing relief. But for a painful, inflamed throat, use Andalex C lozenges for triple action, pain relief. Andalex, SA's #1 choice for a sore mouth and throat. Andalex lozenges are available at all leading pharmacies and supermarkets.
Just Andalex it.
Across the Desk
with Clement Manyathela
on 702.
24 minutes before 11 o'clock on Across the Desk this morning. I'm hosting Avid Travelers. I've got Gaynor, Neill, I've got Nadine, Ndlovu as well. We've been talking about travels, what they like, and what they normally do when they arrive in a country. What do you like about traveling? I've got some of your WhatsApp voice notes coming through and your calls on 011-883-0702.
Hi, Clement. I should have been on the show today. I am traveling to my 32nd country this year. This year I plan to do 32 through to 36. My special brand of travel is low-cost luxury. I always look for business class and getting the best deal I can on business class, and then also like low-cost 5-star hotels, which, you'd be surprised when you do your homework, you can find them. And the other aspect of my travel is I do it all within my 28 days of leave that I have a year, which is quite a stretch, but, it's for the love of the travel and the places that we see.
Mm-hmm. So I wanted to ask a question based on that, guys. So if you are, and especially for you, Nadine, do you do you choose one airline to travel with so that you can, because maybe that's advice that can go to other listeners who want to start traveling more. Is it best to travel with one airline because then you can maximize on your miles? I know I do that. And then if you're traveling with Emirates or whatever airline you go with consistently, you know that there are miles that you can...
Yes, that is a great way to go about it, but also it depends on where you're flying to. Not every airline will always fly to that destination. You might be loyal to Qatar, but maybe Qatar is not flying to, or it's the more expensive option to the current destination that you're going to. So honestly, I think I keep it at about, I'm loyal to 3 or 4 airlines. There's some that I will not fly with, not to mention any names, but I'm really not picky as long as it's any of those 4.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And then you do get some miles, yeah?
Yes,
you
I
use
do
those?
get some miles, yes.
Okay. Okay, perfect. And does it happen even with cruises as well?
It does.
Yeah?
In fact, it's quite key. There's, there's a few factors to consider. First of all, visas. So depending on the routing that you're taking, for example, certain airlines, if you're going over the UK, you've got to consider, visa implications. The Middle Eastern carriers, the Qatars and Emirates, tend to be very, very good as a hub for connecting with cruises, particularly in Europe. But again, some people, the loyalty points are important, but I think you've got to look at the value for money overall with the length of destination, with the types of connections. Do you want to sit somewhere for 8 hours in between? Exactly. Yeah. So I err on the side of convenience. Again, do a little bit of research and find out what works best with your plans.
Yeah.
I think another way as well is I always book an airline. Sometimes I do like the long layovers, so I can get to stay in that country for a little bit and explore, especially if it's a country that doesn't require South African to have a visa.
Yeah.
Your Singapore's, your Qatar, Dubai even. Some people just like to go out of the airport.
Because Dubai can give you a day...
Yes, a day pass.
Yeah?
Go out, have lunch, come back. Yeah. So sometimes that's also how I pick my airline.
Yeah, Singapore is also great. It's just that it's so expensive.
But they do have free tours. If you've got a layover that's 8 hours and over, they've got free tours.
I think I once did their free tour, but then I ended up at this restaurant or club, and I ordered a drink called the Singapore Sling, and I paid 400 Rand.
Oh, yeah.
400 Rand for that cocktail.
That's Singapore for
a Singapore Sling? Yeah, it's it's quite crazy. Here's another WhatsApp.
And I hope you are good together with your guest there. You know what, to be honest with you, I think most of us, we like to travel, but we don't have money. Traveling is expensive. So not today, all I'm saying is that, guys, replaking, man. Replaking, because when you are traveling almost 2 or 3 times in a year. So if honestly, and we don't have money to travel like you, but if there are things like clubs where you guys are paying, and when you've accumulated a certain amount or certain points, and then you are able to use those to travel, plug us in, man. Literally, we want to see the Germany, all these places. Assembly, replaking.
What's that video, Abel? It's saying, oh, you remind me of that video. So, people plan differently. So I'm addicted to traveling. I have to at least, at the very least, I have to see at least 3 countries in a year, at the very least. And sometimes I repeat like countries. And that's just an addiction I have. So what that means is I have to plan around it as well. Like I will budget for that. So I will not do many things, but I know that there's money that I'm putting aside. So I don't know, are there club, what people who come together? I don't know about that. I've never done that. But I personally do that myself on the side where I know that I deprive myself of certain things because I've got a goal. Yeah. I've got to go somewhere in June or in August or in December or at least 3 times a year. How do you guys do it? How do you plan for it? Is it just savings by yourselves?
Yeah, well, yes, sometimes it's business in our case, but yes, you look for deals, and I've got a family. I've got 3 sons. I'm actually taking them on a cruise in July.
Nice, where?
To Croatia and Italy.
Nice.
So it's a 10-year promise that I'm fulfilling now. So.
Yeah. See the importance of planning.
Of planning. But I want to add to that, lady. Also, never forget, we talk about all these international exotic destinations, and it's a dream and a goal of many people. We live in a very, very beautiful country.
Oh, yes.
And you could, up the road in, I'm going to say, Mchalisburg, for example, there's some beautiful little chalets. So you don't need to be spending thousands and thousands. You can actually have a nice, perhaps little long weekend. We live in a beautiful country. Start experiencing that first if you've got that urge for a little adventure.
And that's where I want us to come to in a moment. But how do you plan for your travels? Do you save yourself?
Save, plan ahead of time, and then start. We try to plan affordable trips for people. A lot of people say, it's cheaper to travel within the country. Sometimes traveling to Cape Town can be the same price as traveling to a Zanzibar.
Yeah.
But people don't know
They
that.
don't know.
Because you're either not doing enough research or just find an agent who can help you with that. It's possible for everyone.
Give them a budget.
Give them a
if
budget.
If you say I've got 15K, who knows? They could find you something in
Yeah,
Mozambique.
it doesn't mean you'll stay in a resort, in an all-inclusive resort, but you can still have somewhat of an experience.
Absolutely. Okay, so local travels, because I agree with you, Gaynor. We live in such a beautiful country. Durban, Cape Town, those are not the only places.
Mpumalanga.
Or Kruger, not the only places. I recently, 3 weeks ago, went to the Midlands.
Yes.
I was blown away, and I have never been to the Midlands. And I was shocked that how is it that I don't know about that place? And I think there's a lot of work that needs to be done to market places in South Africa. Are there places that you guys have been to locally that are not your usual Durban, Cape Town, that you would think people must look at and start Googling?
For sure. I'll tell you my favorite, a family favorite. I like to do the Kruger National Park at least once a year. It's, and there's people overseas, remember, that are dreaming of doing that, and we've got it up the road. Marloth Park, you can get some wonderful self-catering accommodation. Even Mchalisburg, 40 minutes away from here. Some beautiful little resorts. So this is people that have a desire to get away and feel that they're absolutely limited because of budget. Not always the case if you consider what's on your doorstep. And you start getting that sense of adventure and set your goals and dreams, then who knows where you'll end up. So.
There's Mpumalanga. There's God's Window there. There's so many beautiful mountains. There's waterfalls. Mpumalanga, Limpopo as well. There's a couple
is
of
amazing
Limpopo. There's also a place in the Free State, Parys. Really nice. Really nice places to go and activities that are affordable. You know, river rafting. Things like skydiving. There's actually quite a lot other than the places that we do know, like Cape Town, Durban, which are great, but
Oh yeah, guys. And even in KwaZulu-Natal, there are places I'm finding now that are not in your usual there, like they're just deep inside that you can check out in Limpopo, not just Bela Bela. But we need to do so much.
There's also a place in Pretoria called Dinokeng where you can.
I've been to Dinokeng.
Yeah, and people think you need to go. It's just here where you can go and see some animals. You know, game drive.
I've been to Dinokeng. It's beautiful. All right, Professor Mamokgethi Phakeng calling us from Johannesburg. Prof, how are you?
Hello, Clement. I'm well, thanks. How are you?
I'm good. I'm sure. How are you in South Africa? Because you are always somewhere in the world.
I'm chasing the sun. Wherever the sun goes, I am.
Yeah.
So, and that's it's a very interesting show. I love traveling, and I've been everywhere. But I mean, your guests have I've always said it's only the Antarctica I haven't been to, so I still have to do that box, but I've been on every continent. And then the thing is that I got into timeshare or the point system because I found that if I had a timeshare, or 3 years ago, then I got into the points, then I just pay the service fee or the levy, and I can go anywhere in the world. And then it feels cheaper, but I paid for the levy, but I can just go online and look where it is. So that's one in terms of people, and people would say, how cheap is cheap? On one I pay maybe about 19,000 rands a year. Yeah. But I've got lots of points that I don't even manage to finish to use all in a year. So actually, you end up having. I lack time to travel, but I have places and accommodation, and all I have to pay for is transportation and that exchange fee. So I would like to get your guests' view about that. But the other point you asked, Clement, was when you travel, what is it for? For me, it's for the experience. So like your guest, I don't like the usual places that people go to. I don't want to meet South Africans when I'm there. Yeah. So I'd rather go to places where I will enjoy the place. So, for example, people would say, but I would say Rotorua is one of my favorite places. But why? It's because it's a city on top of a live volcano. And I love the fact that I can be walking in a park and there's a volcano, it's live. And people have backyard baths, warm baths in the backyard because, so that kind of thing. Wow. And then, of course, when you mix it with the Maori culture, that I can spend a weekend at the Marae with the Maori community doing their culture. It's just priceless. You will never get it anywhere. But then it's in the middle of New Zealand. It's in New Zealand. So I don't go for Auckland, which looks like any other Commonwealth city, but Rotorua becomes amazing. And there was a time when I was doing island trotting. I called it island trotting, just going to islands. And that's when I was worried that these islands are going to be consumed by the sea very soon, and we've never seen them. So I just went onto islands. And again, finally, let me stop here. It's that your guests can also tell us about times when it's cheaper. There are times around May. Around May, that's when it gets cheaper in other places. So let them talk to us about that, because you can get the top hotel in the UAE as if it's growing out of the desert, with a landing strip and rooms for Beyonce and Michael Jackson that are allocated, and you get it for nothing, simply because of the timing. So I look at the timing as well. Thank you, Clement.
Amazing. Professor Mamokgethi Phakeng, thank you so much for that. And I think they're also like geopolitical. There was a time when the Pope died, Pope Francis died. I remember I was checking flights to Paris, because I was going to go. I ran the Paris Marathon about 4 weeks or so ago. Their prices were crazy for flights, because just after that, the Pope had died, so it was quite hectic. So looking at what happens around the world as well, sometimes that impacts on the prices. All right, it's 10 minutes now before 11 o'clock. When we come back, we'll respond to some of that. And if you do timeshare as well, which is what the Prof is talking about, let me know what your experience of it has been, and so that other listeners maybe can look into that. Explore the future of water security at Water Security Africa at the CTICC in Cape Town from the 20th to the 22nd of May. Join industry leaders, innovators, and stakeholders at this vital summit to discover advanced water technologies, sustained solutions, and investment opportunities. Register for free now at watersecurity-africa.com.
Hi, I'm Dion Free. Winning requires audacity. That's why I joined African Bank and opened a 60-month fixed-term investment account. I'm scoring 12.8% interest at expiry on my investment. How cool is that? You too can join the bank that backs you to grow your money. Pop into a branch near you or visit africanbank.co.za. African Bank. Audacity to believe. African Bank is a licensed financial services and registered credit provider. T's and C's apply.
The time to honor our past and step into a shared future as a team is here. Corporate hospitality and team entries for this year's 702 Walk the Talk are now open. Bring your colleagues together on Sunday, the 27th of July to walk through the historic Freedom Park heritage site, past national landmarks, and finish at the Union buildings. To book hospitality, email hospitality@raceoffice.co.za. For corporate entries, visit primemediaplus.com. Entries close on Friday, the 18th of July. 702 Walk the Talk, hosted by Freedom Park Heritage Site in the city of Tshwane, where footsteps become footprints.
Across the desk
with Clement Manyathela
on 702.
8 minutes now before 11 o'clock. Let's quickly take Kofi, who's calling us from Pretoria. Kofi, good morning.
Yes, good morning, Clement. Thank you so much for putting this thing together. And I have to agree with you. I love to travel alone. It's not easy. But the other one is that I also thank you for having put the focus on South Africa. This is one of the most beautiful countries in the world, and there's so much here and cheaper. The other one that I think that's missing a bit is the rest of Africa. This is our backyard, and we need to pick out what are the other places that these ladies have enjoyed and around the continent. And then my final one is, Asia. But mainly China, because I have two criteria: geopolitics, and then food. And I think if they can give us a little bit of tip on China, especially on the visa issue, on the costs, and then the best time to travel.
Yeah, I don't know if they'll have those technical details, Kofi, but I think let's put that focus on Africa. If you guys travel anywhere, thank you, Kofi, for the call. On the continent, what's been your favorite place?
Victoria Falls is, it's one of the big hitters, but it's amazing. And I've traveled extensively through Botswana. Again, it depends on your interest, if you like wildlife. And yes, what we've got in our backyard is, and Namibia is another fantastic neighbor for travel and experiences.
Yeah, so. It is beautiful. Yeah. It's beautiful.
Yeah, I also love Victoria Falls. I experienced it from both the Zimbabwean side and the Zambian side. And Zambia is also just really lovely. Their food there, Botswana as well, Tanzania. And I'm looking to go to Kenya sometime next year. So we also do definitely have some gems in Africa.
We do. I mean, people go crazy about Zanzibar. I mean, Zanzibar is amazing. Mauritius is amazing.
Yes.
Haven't been to the Seychelles.
Yes. But it's also, it's one.
Apparently, it's also quite great. Okay, let's go to. Have you guys done in Asia? Where have you been?
I've been to Cambodia, and I can not to China. I know the gentleman spoke about China. We do have cruise ships that call, which is nice because they call in at say the ports along the Chinese coast, gives the people the experience without an extensive. Japan tends to be a very popular destination for culinary and cultural travel. Obviously, the cherry blossoms. Then you're looking, you're looking traveling sort of late March, April, if you want the cherry blossoms, the infamous cherry blossoms, or the opposite of that, they have the autumn leaves. So you're later in the year, October time. So Japan is a very, very popular Asian. Cambodia and Vietnam along the Mekong.
Oh, I want to do Vietnam.
It's beautiful. Yeah. It's very peaceful. That's a fantastic trip. And again, recommended by water on a ship from the Mekong will take you right through Cambodia and Vietnam extensively, and it's all curated trips, all to the safest places. It's a beautiful experience, so definitely recommend it if you're thinking of Asia.
Asia, I've been to Thailand and Indonesia, Bali, the water, as well as Hong Kong. They've got great food there.
Wasn't it busy on the streets? It always looks so busy.
So the thing is, and also to answer the prof's question, which is like, what's the best time to go? Off-peak season is always the best time. I know people are afraid to go during rainy season, but the thing with Asia is that their rainy season doesn't mean it's raining all the time.
Yes.
It just means that it rains in the morning and then it stops. Or
and the rain is warm.
And the rain is warm. And they only have two seasons. It's either rainy season or dry season, wet and dry. So in terms of going to places and often on peak, I think just research that area because many different areas are.
Hello, Nadine. We are going as a family on Tuesday to the States, and we are going to be in Boston, Connecticut, and in New York. Please, can you give us one tip for each of those that we absolutely have to do? Thanks so much. This is Chris from Radiohead.
So New York?
Boston and Connecticut.
Yeah. Oh, Boston was cold the last time I was there. But it shouldn't be cold now.
It's currently spring right now, so it's getting a little bit warmer, although they are going to the top side of the east. So it's still a little bit cold, but not too much.
Yeah.
So I'll answer on New York first. I mean, New York has got so many destinations. Oh my gosh.
Soho, Manhattan.
Do the Brooklyn Bridge. There's a place called Dumbo. Definitely go there. Do Times Square, obviously. The museums, especially if you're going as a family, the museums are very nice. Central Park.
Oh, go run by Central Park if you're a runner.
Yeah.
Just walk with your family there.
And then when it comes to Boston, I mean, there's Harvard and stuff like that. But I think Gaynor can speak more on Connecticut and Boston.
Well, I've visited Boston and just for a couple of days as part of Scenic Eclipse, one of the ships that we do. And there is a very famous oyster restaurant in Boston, which I would recommend because the gentleman was once interviewed by South Africa. He's got a South African news article on the wall, and that's if you like oysters, definitely. Also, Little Italy, Salem. So Boston's a very like you say, Harvard. It's a very interesting New England, lovely, lovely city to visit. The Little Italy is, and you get I think the famous Boston, is it Red Sox? I think I stand corrected. Their favorite pizza, which is about the size of your arm, the slice of pizza. So.
Yeah, go to Harvard. I mean, they do allow us.
They do allow you to walk through.
And just take it in.
Yes, and you can walk that whole street.
Yeah.
It's very beautiful.
Okay, how do people get a hold of you guys? They're asking. Please contact details.
Yeah, sure. So our domain is cruise-vacations.
Cruise-vacation.
So that's the website, .co.za or info@cruise-vacations.co.za.
Okay.
Okay, and for me, you can come to me personally at Nadine Ndlovu on all social media platforms, or you can find us at Navigate Travels, so NAVACATE Travels. .square.site, or you can find me through my personal pages, Instagram, TikTok,
Nadine Ndlovu.
Nadine Ndlovu.
Okay, guys, I've enjoyed this chat so much. Thank you so much for making time for us.
Thank you for having us.
It's a minute before 11.
Timber, have you filed your business tax return?
Joe. With My Way Business Insurance, I get My Business Assist, which gives me loads of benefits. They assist in filing my taxes, so no long queues. Plus, I get tender notifications, marketing services, and more to help me elevate my hustle.
They do what?
Yeah, bo. Thanks to My Way, now I have time to focus on the real deal, which is growing my business.
Move to My Way Business Insurance today and get covered to do business your way. Visit myway.co.za for a quote. My Business Assist is a value-added product. My Way is a licensed non-life insurer and FSP. T's and C's apply.
Imagine luxury, adventure, and relaxation all in one place and set against South Africa's stunning natural beauty. From gourmet dining to kids' clubs and thrilling activities, it's the ultimate getaway, and it's almost here. Club Med is coming to South Africa. That's right, the world-renowned all-inclusive holiday brand will be launching its iconic services in KwaZulu-Natal. Learn more at clubmed.co.za.
This is EWN.
Good morning, I'm Sfiso Zulu. Disgraced Dr. Nandipha Magudumana's bid to have her arrest declared unlawful has been dismissed with costs by the Supreme Court in Bloemfontein. Magudumana was apprehended in Tanzania in 2023 while on the run with her lover and accomplice, convicted murderer Thabo Bester. She is accused of helping Bester escape from the Mangaung prison where he was serving a life sentence. Magudumana argued that police abducted her from Tanzania in a disguised extradition, which she says was unlawful, but police say she consented to her return to South Africa as she wanted to return home to her children. Khomoto Modisa reports.
It's another blow for Dr. Nandipha Magudumana, who's fighting for her freedom. Magudumana approached the Supreme Court to challenge a High Court ruling which found that her deportation from Tanzania and her arrest were lawful. Justice Dadi Makhoka handed down the judgment this morning in under 2 minutes.
The order of the majority judgment reads as follows. The appeal is dismissed with costs, including the cost of true counsel, where so employed.
Makgoka noted that there was a dissenting view with a minority judgment in Magudumana's favor. Magudumana will remain behind bars ahead of the start of her trial with her accomplice Thabo Bester and others in July. Khomzo Modise, Eyewitness News at the Supreme Court of Appeal in Bloemfontein.
Authorities investigating the disappearance of journalist Aseri Ndlovu and his partner Ndlovu say they haven't ruled out the arrest of more people in the case. So far, a total of 8 people have been arrested for their alleged parts in the mysterious circumstances surrounding the couple's disappearance. 2 men who appeared before the Gwamhlanga Magistrates Court yesterday, however, their matter was postponed to next week to allow them to apply for legal aid. National Press Club spokesperson Elijah Mhlanga says that they are not surprised by the number of arrests made so far.
No, we always suspected that there were more people involved in this, because if you look at the state of the house of our brothers Ndlovu and Ndlovu, when the family went there to check on them after it was clear that they were missing, it was in total chaos. Items had been stolen, and it was clear that no single person or 2 people would have been able to do that type of thing.
The passenger rail agency says work to revive full train operations across the country is at an advanced stage. PRASA officials are briefing the Western Cape Legislature Standing Committee on Mobility on its plans to improve train services in the Cape. PRASA Group CEO Hisham Imran has told the committee that post-COVID, only 4 of the 40 rail corridors were operational countrywide, and adds that they aim to complete the work on all the corridors.
We've seen the recovery on our stations. When I said there were 4 corridors operational, only 7 of our over 400 stations we could operate at. We now have recovered over 300 of those stations, where we've got functionality of them across the country.
He says plans are also in place to grow passenger numbers to 600 million by 2030.
We were at 600 back in 2013, 2014, so it's not a figure that comes from nowhere. If you look at year on year, just the past financial year, we have grown our passenger numbers by 95%. We are now sitting at just under 80 million as we are busy recovering.
And Indian Defence Minister Rajnath Singh says the International Monetary Fund should reconsider a $1 billion loan to Pakistan, alleging Islamabad is funding terror. India and Pakistan last week launched missiles, drones and artillery strikes on each other before a ceasefire that began Saturday. The IMF last week approved a loan program review for Pakistan, unlocking the money in much-needed funds and greenlighting a new $1.4 billion bailout despite India's objections. India, which also represents Bhutan, Sri Lanka and Bangladesh on the IMF board, abstained on the review vote, voicing concerns over the efficacy of IMF programs in case of Pakistan given its poor track record. Pakistan came to the brink of default in 2023 as a political crisis compounded an economic downturn and drove the nation's debt burden to terminal levels. And gold is trading at $3,213.06 an ounce. The rand is at 18.05 to the dollar, 24.05 to the pound, 20.24 to the euro. Brent crude oil is at $64.40 a barrel.
Alberton heading towards Vereeniging. There's still delays on the R59 southbound between the Reading interchange and Swartkopies. However, in the rest of 702 land, looking pretty good. No accident scenes have been reported. There's just slight delays, though, in the LX area heading towards Bedford View, N3 southbound between Marlborough Drive and Modderfontein Road. Also, traffic a bit sluggish in Polshof on Witkoppen Road between Main and Stonehaven.
A partly cloudy Friday in store for Gauteng. The temperatures will peak at highs between 20 and 21 degrees. The top story in EWN this hour: disgraced Dr. Nandipha Magudumana's bid to have her arrest declared unlawful has been dismissed with costs by the Supreme Court in Bloemfontein.
EWN, in touch, in tune and independent. For the latest, visit ewn.co.za or download the EWN app. Walk through history, walk with it. Sunday, 27 July, 7:02 Walk the Talk. Hosted by Freedom Park in the city of Tshwane. More on primemediaplus.com.
You're with Clement Manyathela
on 702.
Let's Walk the Talk, streaming on the Prime Media Plus app,
DSTV channel 856,
92.7 and 106 FM.
Seven minutes after 11 o'clock. Dumelang. Welcome to the third and final hour of the Clement Manyathela Show. Thank you so much for staying with us here on 702. We're going to get into adult radio this hour. So I'm going to give you a few minutes to get the kids, give them headphones, earphones to listen to something else if you're in the car with them. But yeah, please, the next conversation, kids are not allowed. It's adult conversation. So while I give you a chance to make those arrangements, here's an opportunity for you, for me to make your Friday amazing. So coming up before we wrap up the show today, this week, Clicks wants you to actually nominate a hero who deserves appreciation. So if you know someone who quietly helps other people, now's your chance to help them win 2,500 Rand in Clicks Club Card cashback. It's very easy. All you have to do is to send me a WhatsApp voice note on 072 702 1702 and tell me about the quiet hero deserving a spoil. So if you know of that person who's always quietly helping other people and becoming a blessing to other people, they can win 2,500 Rand in Clicks Club Card. So send me a WhatsApp voice note on 072 702 1702. Tell us about that quiet hero, who they are and what they've been doing, why you think they deserve the spoil. You can include your name and your ID number, please, on that WhatsApp, and we could be calling you back thanks to Clicks. Feel good, pay less, only on 702. T's and C's apply. Time now for our relationship and sex feature.
Relationship issues,
Relationship talk.
on 702.
So on our relationship and sex feature this morning, we are talking about navigating threesomes, foursomes, or maybe more sums. Have you ever thought about having a threesome? Maybe you've thought about having a foursome or with more people than just 4 people. Group sex can be thrilling for other people. It's a very common fantasy for others, whether you have considered it, whether you've tried it, or maybe you've just wondered about it. The reality can sometimes be a little different from what you can imagine it to be, right? Bringing in a third person in on some sexy time, that can also change even relationship dynamics. Maybe as a couple you thought, let's start bringing in a third person, and you thought it works, but it doesn't. Or it actually works for the better, right? So when you talk about just how you can navigate that can help you if you're still wondering about it, if you still want to try it out. It can help you know what are the things to consider, what are the things to be cautious of. How do you even broach the subject? Talk about it with your partner. If you want to join this conversation, maybe you have thought about having a threesome, a foursome. Maybe you've tried it yourself. What's been your experience? 011-883-0702. As always, I'd like to hear your thoughts. The WhatsApp line is 072-702-1702. New Davidson is a sex educator and couples intimacy coach who's joining us and will be guiding us through this conversation. Hello, New. Good to see you. How are you doing?
Hey, Clement. Always a pleasure to be on air with you. I'm so good. How are you?
I'm good. And I'm glad we're having this conversation that I know previously, culture has always frowned upon group sex or anything other than 2 people engaging in what, we can call, plain vanilla sex. Is that slowly changing, especially in as far as group sex is concerned?
Yeah, I definitely. I mean, if you think about the origin of this, we went through a patch, right? In the very beginning, if we go back to ancient Roman days and the Greek, Greek mythology, you'll see a lot of group sex and a lot of group intimacy happening. It was pretty common, actually. Then we kind of evolved into a more almost said monotonous, but I meant monogamy. So more of a monogamous styled relationship whereby one individual would then partner and pair with their chosen person, and that would be their commitment. In many cultures, in heterosexual relationships, a man can have multiple wives, not necessarily the reverse. So that's been the journey as we go. Monogamy is one of the most, culturally accepted and common ways of having a relationship. However, there is diversity in multidimensional relationships, and we're talking beyond just the intimacy. So there is a difference between having a threesome, which is a one-off sexual experience or a regular sexual experience that you enjoy, versus a polyamorous structure or an open, non-monogamous structure to your relationship. That is more than just the physical, that's the emotional relationship that goes with it. So there are multi versions of how relationships can look. Threesomes and foursomes and, group sex has become a lot more common, I would say, in today's modern state, but there's a lot to navigate with it.
Yeah, and we'll talk about how you navigate that, but still on these perceptions and cultural expectations. Sometimes you wonder where people will frown upon group sex, and yet when they go to watch porn, for instance, they still pick porn where there's just a group of people just having sex. And sometimes you wonder, is there a fantasy there that they just feel, I can't bring myself because of whether religious or cultural or whatever reasons, I can't bring myself to do it, but I enjoy watching it.
Absolutely. So when we look at our desires versus fantasies, these are two different things. One, we can fantasize, which is a fictional journey in your brain. It can be as wild as you want it to be. Doesn't necessarily mean you actually want to action it. An actionable fantasy becomes a desire. I get turned on by this. I'm aroused by it. Doesn't necessarily mean I want to implicate it. Then those are two different things. You can fantasize about it, and I want to bring that up because I want to eliminate as much shame as possible, because a lot of people get turned on, and what they're aroused by in their fantasy does not necessarily mean that's what they actually want to foresee happen. It just happens to turn you on. So those are two different things I want to distinguish here.
Yeah, thank you for that. Okay, so what are some of the most common motivations couples have for exploring group sex?
Okay, so obviously the list is long because every relationship is unique. But for a lot of people, it's a fantasy, it turns you on, something about it arouses you. Whether that is being watched by other people, including other people. Very, very common. Threesomes is probably one of the most common fantasies that there is statistically. So it's a very common thing to desire. And I think there is a lot around what you're desiring in that, and getting to the root cause of why you want that. Having that conversation with your partner. What is the motivation? What is your why? Now, if we think about the long list of why we have sex, it's hundreds. It might be a stress reliever. It might be a connection. It might be to explore. A lot of relationships maybe want to explore it because they're adventurous. Maybe it is one person's fantasy. Maybe it's both of their fantasies they want to outlive. Maybe they're feeling like their relationship's getting a little bit stagnant and they want to add a little spice to it. And this is something that their friends have done, so now they want to do. So it's no straight answer. There are multiple reasons why people may want to explore this. And I guess it starts with a conversation.
It starts with a conversation, but how do you then navigate it? So once you've decided as a couple that this is something we're going to do, how do you navigate it? I remember taking a call in one of our conversations at this time on a Friday, probably about a year or two ago, from a couple. And this was a gay couple that, well, one of them called in and said that when they brought in someone, they decided, as a couple that, just to spice up things in our relationship, let's bring in a third party. And they brought in a third party, but then they ended up breaking up because the rules were that we can only engage with that third party, the three of us. But for some reason, one of the partners went and had sex with that other third party outside of that arrangement because they had feelings that had developed. So how do you navigate it like that? Because sometimes, yes, it may not be intended. You may think, this is just for fun to spice things up. But what happens when the third party you've brought in, you've actually enjoyed doing this with them more than you do with your partner, and something develops there? So what should people be cautious of as they navigate the dynamics of bringing a third person in, or fourth, or fifth?
So I think regardless of the number of people you bring into your relationship, the communication and boundary setting is the forefront of this journey. If you are going to open your relationship for whatever, whether it is emotional or just sexual, you want to have a very clear conversation, not a conversation, multiple conversations. It is not a one-off. Much like consent, we don't just go, yes, I'm into it now, and then that's the end. Because I said yes once, that means that you never have to ask me again. This is a continued conversation, constant check-in. One of the greatest myths people have in opening their relationship is that it's going to explode the relationship, it'll destroy the relationship, you're unhappy because you're looking for something else and you want another person. When you do an open relationship properly, it is probably more communicative and connective, because the depth of communication is tenfold to the average relationship, because you really have to check in regularly, adhere to the boundaries, constantly adjust your boundaries as you navigate the newness. There is the reality of risk. Whenever you engage sexually with anyone, any people, there is risk attached to it. So you want to ensure you've established clear communication, clear, constant communication around your boundaries, your expectations of each other in your relationship, knowing that you as the partner are the primary. You starting off as the couple, you are the primary, and therefore that conversation begins with the two of you. What are you looking for? Then you include your third, fourth, fifth, sixth, however many you want to. And obviously, they then become a part of the conversation in what their expectations are, what their boundaries are. So it's a lot of communication that goes into it. Making sure that you do a pre-discussion as well as a debrief. After every time you've been with someone, check in. There is a lot of unforeseeables in a sexual experience. You don't know how you're going to feel when you watch your partner, penetrate somebody else or kiss somebody else. You don't know that because if you've never experienced it until you're in the moment, which makes it fundamental to be able to have constant consent throughout the journey, to be able to flag, I'm feeling a little triggered right now, that everyone is very aware of each other in the midst of the adrenaline rushing experience. A debrief where everybody checks in, and this is not just to ask, one time we had a great night, we had a third and it was an incredible experience, the end you enjoyed, let's do it again. It's how do you feel a few days later? How was the experience? Unpack the experience together. Making sure that there is constant checks on STI screenings, and you have the communication around what your consent is, what your protection is from getting regularly tested, using protection condoms. These are all conversations that have to happen. So I know you laugh, but every time I'm on the show, the thing that I drive home the largest is communication. Yes. And my goodness, if one is to explore with other people and open your relationship, communication couldn't be the largest component to the experience.
Yes. It's 20 minutes now after 11 o'clock. After the break, I'd like us to hear from our listeners on 011-883-0702. That's where you can give us a call. Have you ever thought about having a threesome? Have you had a conversation with your partner about bringing in a third person or two more people into your intimate space? Did you have rules around that? How did you navigate that? Maybe you are the one that asked your partner and your partner said no, or your partner asked and you said no. What happened? Has that conversation even occurred? Give us a call to share your experiences with us on 011-883-0702 or send me a WhatsApp voice note or text on 072-702-1702. It's 21 after 11.
John Perlman. Weekday afternoons.
3 to 6.
You at Food Forward already do a great deal, but you're saying the law is preventing you from doing more. What aspect of the law in particular?
Recalibrate means that if someone like a food manufacturer donates food onward to Food Forward SA, and then we onward donate that to a beneficiary organization, and then that beneficiary organization cooks meals for 100 people, and 25 die, then that means that those people claims right back to Tiger Brands in that entire chain.
John Perlman.
3 to 6 on 702.
The World Union of Wholesale Markets 2025 conference is here, 14th to the 16th of May at the Sandton Convention Center, with the bold theme Shaping the Future of Fresh Produce Through Sustainability, Innovation and Inclusivity. This landmark event tackles the urgent challenges of our time, from ensuring food security and embracing digital transformation to creating inclusive, future-ready markets. This isn't just a conference. It's Africa's call to lead, inspire and transform the future of fresh produce. Visit wuwm.org for more information.
Do you have the pace to ace the race? The 3 million rand race. It's the one and only Spinner Zonke jackpot race, and it's exclusive to Hollywood Bets. Feel the heat from the hottest slots as you seek to spin your way to fabulous fortunes and precious prizes. A thrilling 3 million rand is up for grabs every Wednesday, Friday and Saturday when you hunt for hidden treasures and spin for big wins. Bet now.
T's and C's apply. Hollywood Sportsbook is a licensed betting operator. Hollywood Bet supports responsible gambling. No persons under the age of 18 years are permitted to gamble. Winners know when to stop. South African Responsible Gambling Foundation toll-free counselling line 0800 006 008 or WhatsApp HELP to 076 675 0710.
My family's struggling with snotty noses and phlegmy coughs.
Oh no! Have you tried ACC?
ACC 600 is a convenient one-a-day effervescent tablet from 14 years of age, or now also in a no-water-needed, fruity-flavored sherbet-like granules that dissolve in your mouth. Ideal for the on-the-go adult. Ask for ACC 600 effervescent or oral powder at your nearest pharmacy to get rid of the snotties and flemmings. And trust, if it doesn't say ACC, it's not ACC.
Every thriving business starts the same way, with someone who dares to dream.
If that's you, 702 and Standard Bank's MyMobiz business account want to back your next bold move.
Every week we'll spotlight 4 of Gauteng's boldest entrepreneurs and give them a chance to win 25,000 rand to boost their business.
And if you already bank smart with a Standard Bank business account, that becomes 50,000 rand. To enter, hit primemediaplus.com
and tell us your growth aspiration and how a cash injection could unlock your next level of success.
This week, tune in to 702 Breakfast with Bongani Bingwa, weekdays 6 to 9 a.m. to hear if your business is in the running. It's time to rise and thrive with Standard Bank's MyMobiz business account.
TCs and more at primemediaplus.com.
Relationship issues?
Relationship talk
On 702.
It's 24 minutes after 11 o'clock on our relationship feature this morning. It's adult radio, so just a reminder that kids are not allowed this hour. We're having a conversation about how to navigate threesomes with your partner in a relationship, because yes, it does happen. There are some couples who have a fantasy about this, who want sometimes to be watched or watch other people. And I'm asking you if you have tried it. Have you tried a threesome? Is it your fantasy? Have you tried it? Are you considering it? What's been your experience? Has it worked? Has it done what it was supposed to do? Especially if you did it with your own partner and you guys brought in somebody else. Did it rekindle? Did it spice things up? Or did it complicate things? Just give us your raw experience of how that was for you. 011-883-0702 is the number to dial. You can send a WhatsApp as well on 072 702-1702.
Hello, 702 family. I love this topic. Look, I mean, it's happening. It's happening more than people think. There are clubs that accommodate this type of choice of living all over the country, where people can go and live out their fantasies. It's there. It's happening. I just don't see my Zulu husband agreeing to such.
Your Zulu husband. Well, you never know. You never know. And you know what I sometimes find new is that sometimes we don't talk about certain things or express our fantasies in our relationships because we think, oh, my partner is going to think this, you know, my wife, my husband, my boyfriend, my girlfriend is going to think I'm wild, or where did I learn this? Why am I interested in this? But actually, sometimes you'd be surprised that maybe that's something they're also thinking about or more, but they're just scared to talk about it. And as you always say, Nu, just communicate. If it doesn't work for you guys, it doesn't. If it doesn't, both of you are considering it. But how are you going to know when you don't communicate it?
Absolutely. And, you know, I do say communicate like it's easy, but it's not necessarily always easy. So if anyone is thinking, how am I going to bring this up? I kind of have this desire and fantasy, but I have no idea where to go with it. Here's your perfect opportunity. Hey, babe, I listened to this amazing segment on 702 today, and they talked about threesomes. How interesting. What are your thoughts on threesomes? Open the door. Have the conversation. Let the conversation begin there. Of then you get a little bit of an insight. Are they going to be like, hell no, I'd never do that? Or that's interesting. What did you think? What did they say about it? And you begin a dialogue about it. You know, bringing up, saying something is better than saying nothing at all. And just because you say something doesn't necessarily mean, again, that you want to implicate it, that you want to implement it. It doesn't mean that because you're like, oh, it turned me on and I really like listening about it, it made me think, that means that, hey, I want to do this. It's a long journey. Also, we think that it's super easy to just go out and find a third. Unicorns are called unicorns for a reason, because they're not exactly always easy to find. And it is a lot more complex than people give it credit. Sometimes it does just happen at a nightclub, and, you know, if that's your jam, then that's cool. But having the conversation at least allows you to explore your fantasies. Again, it can also be role play. It could be something that gets included into your dirty talk. It doesn't necessarily mean that you have to do it.
Yeah. Okay, I've got a number of questions, but let's start here. Let's do this voice note first.
Hi, Clement and your guest. I've actually done it twice in 2 different relationships. And the last relationship, the person we invited ended up being with the partner.
Oh, no.
Since I was in a committed relationship, now they are the ones that are now inviting me. Actually, yeah, this whole conversation is even turning me on.
I love that. I'm so glad that they managed to navigate that, and now he's being invited. How fantastic.
It's so interesting. Okay, so and there's someone here who says, because there sometimes can be these triangles, right? What happens when I'm in a relationship with Nu, and then I say to Nu, hey, let's invite this other person, but it's a person that I have already had a sexual encounter with in the past. Does that work? Because that's a question I got on Twitter, that sometimes that's what people do. And I mean, as Nu, what do you say when your partner says, oh, let's invite this person in, but it's a person that I've already been with?
So I think that then needs to be a deeper conversation on why that person. It can be very triggering if I was doing that with you. It could be very triggering for me, like, why are we bringing in an ex? What is the repeat need for here? And I think if I felt comfortable with it and I wasn't threatened by that person, then maybe it's a conversation that we can have. But again, it comes down to consent and comfortability, constant communication around it. of the why. Are you just missing the ex? Are you wanting to bring the ex in because you're longing for that type of sex you had with that particular ex? I guess, rooting why that particular person. And that goes to beyond just maybe someone you already been with sexually, ex. It could also be someone that you know. I do encourage people to err with caution when playing with people that they are friends with, so that you have good, solid communication to ensure that that doesn't then obliterate the friendship on the other side, because that's someone you're going to regularly see again and have a different vibe with when you go to a bride. But last Friday we were in the bedroom together and that looked a little different when you were with my husband. So I think that there's a lot of dynamics that can come into play with that. Err with caution. Triggers are very real.
Yeah, absolutely. It's 11:31. Keep your calls and WhatsApp voice notes coming through, and your tweets as well. We'll start with them after the latest in Eyewitness News headlines. Mbali, good morning.
Thanks, Clement. A very good morning. The appointment of Kagiso Lerutla as Ekurhuleni's chief financial officer has been declared unlawful following allegations that proper procedures were not followed during the hiring process. In a letter seen by EWN, Cooperative Governance Minister Velenkosini Hlabisa reveals that Lerutla's appointment violated several compliance requirements. Regulations for the appointment of senior managers stipulate that only one councillor should be part of the panel, which is responsible for making those appointments. Disgraced Dr. Nandipha Makutumana's bid to have her arrest declared unlawful has been dismissed with costs by the Supreme Court in Bloemfontein. Makutumana was apprehended in Tanzania in 2023 while on the run with her lover and accomplice, convicted murderer Thabo Bester. She's accused of helping Bester escape from the Mangaung prison where he was serving a life sentence. And the National Director of Public Prosecutions, Shamila Batoyi, believes there's a reasonable prospect of success to appeal the verdict in the Timothy Omotosho sex crimes trial. Two legal teams have combed through the record to determine where there may have been errors of law in letting the Nigerian televangelist off the hook. Those are the headlines, this EWN and more at midday or as it happens.
EWN Traffic.
Well, at this hour in Alberton, heading towards Vereeniging, there's delays on the R59 southbound between the Reading Interchange and Swarkoppies, while in Benoni, Brakpan area, there's also slow-moving traffic on Rangeview Road between Dube and Tom Jones. If you're heading towards Bedford View, that's coming from Edenville, R24 westbound, bumper-to-bumper traffic, R24 westbound, expect about a 20-minute delay there. That's between the Edenville off-ramp and the Kilulis Interchange. Also, N3 South heading towards Van Buren, slow-moving traffic all the way from Linksfield Road. In Pretoria, we still have slow-moving traffic in the Linwood area. This is on Linwood Road, approaching Simon Vermeulen. If you come across any other traffic issues, please SMS us on 31702. We are also on X at EWN Traffic.
There's more EWN on air, online, and on the EWN app.
There's more than one side to who you are. You are not just a number or your job title or the roles society assigns you. You have dreams, you've got passions and untold motivations that shape your journey. Your full stories have been untold. APSA sees these stories and believes that the real opportunities lie within you. Join APSA as they unfold your untold stories. APSA, we see your story because your story matters. FSP and registered credit provider.
The unexamined life is not worth living. Socrates' timeless wisdom reminds us of the power of introspection. At Plus 94 Research, we delve deep into data, uncovering insights that drive meaningful decisions. Our scientific methodologies transform questions into clarity. Don't just operate, understand. Don't just guess, know. Plus 94 Research, the science of decision making.
Early mornings, back-to-back meetings, a calendar that's side-eyeing you like it's personal. Still, you show up, and so does your M-Zoom R style. Because unlike that one colleague, it actually pulls its weight. And smooth, like it just slid in your DMs. And right now, you're doing it for just 439,900 rands. Extended by popular demand. Get the R style for the price of the executive. Don't sleep on it. You blink, and it's gone like that girl that said, I'll let you know now. www.gacmotorza.co.za.
Relationship issues
Relationship talk.
on 702.
25 minutes before 12 o'clock. Let's continue with our relationship and sex feature this morning. It's adult radio. Again, a reminder that kids are not allowed in this conversation. We are talking about how to navigate threesomes in your relationship. Have you had a conversation about this? Maybe it was your fantasy. You wanted to try it with your partner. How did that go? Were they keen? Have you tried it? How did it go? Are you considering it? What questions do you have? Lerato, you're calling us from Johannesburg. Good morning.
How are you?
Good, Lerato. How are you doing?
All right. Interesting conversation here, triggering.
Why is it triggering you? What happened?
It's just giving mixed emotions, you know.
Yeah.
So, it's a few years ago when I first experienced it. It was between myself. I'm a straight woman, just for context, and I was having it with a lady who's bio, so who dates both women and men, and the guy was straight as well, you know. So, and I made a mistake. Like I said, it was my first time in experiencing that. So what I did not do was to check if the condoms that were being used were being changed or not. So later learned that the guy, we used one condom. So the guy penetrated both and this lady with one condom. Right? Very dangerous. And then we also had a time with this lady. I did not quite enjoy it. I don't know why, because we were all strangers, you know. And luckily, by that time, I was not in a relationship. I was like, let me just explore this thing. Maybe fun, but unfortunately, it didn't turn out as I had hoped.
So all of you didn't know each other?
No, we did not know each other. Yeah, we did not know each other.
Okay, so you didn't even enjoy with the guy, not just with the girl, just the whole entire experience?
Not even. I did not. But turns out they both enjoyed themselves.
Okay.
The lady enjoyed me much more, you know. Yeah, more than she did with the guy. And I've always kissed or even penetrated another woman.
Somebody else, yeah.
Humans, you know. So I'm good. I'm fine now.
Yeah.
I think that train has just passed me, and I'm okay with it.
Yeah, and it's okay, right? It's okay to also say, "Oh, babe, this is not gonna work for me because this is how I feel." You know, it's okay to be jealous and say, "I don't want to see you satisfy somebody else. You are for me, and I'm okay with where we are now." You can talk to your partner and be honest like that.
Absolutely. I do just want to jump in to say, Lerato, thank you so much for your call. And I'm sorry that this conversation has been triggering for you. You know, I love that you mentioned and were open enough to share your experience, because there's a lot of listeners who can learn a lot from what you've just shared. The fact of safety, number one, consent and safety being the core front of a sexual experience like that. Changing out a condom when you are penetrating one person to the next, whether it is multiple people, back to front, you need to make sure that there is hygiene and that we are all taking care of our safety in making sure that there are regular changes of condoms, and we're very conscious about where we're putting, what we're putting, and how everyone is feeling about all of that. I'm sorry that your experience wasn't as fruitful as you had hoped it to be, but I do just want to applaud you that you did it. You had a desire to explore and you explored. Everything that we explore sexually is not necessarily going to be the thing for us. You don't know till you try. And you had the courage to try something and it didn't work out for you. And that wasn't something that you wanted. And now you know that. You would never have known that unless you had tried it. And now being in a monogamous...
the listeners out there and your guest, where do we find these communities where one can explore or find people who are, you know, open to open relationships?
There's somebody else, I think, on the WhatsApp line. I don't know if I lost that, but someone was also asking about, okay, where? Because there are people who seemingly have a fantasy about this, they want to try it, but they just don't know how to go about it. Where do you even start?
So there are lots of places, spaces, and communities that you can look out for. I think obviously the first thing I would do is check out some apps and see on your bio you can specify. So whether you are using Thruple, Field, Grindr, Tinder, you can specify what you're into and what your desires are. Field is FEELD. That's a very popular one. There are a lot of apps out there that connect you in the dating world. Again, with caution when on dating apps, you want to make sure you're not getting catfished. So have your own rules and boundaries around establishing the person is real before you share any imagery or you meet up with anybody, meeting in public, things like that. If you're down to just find a group or a community or a space, there are, I think, 2 events that I can recommend. One would be Eden, a highly popular, incredible space. This is not a play party. This is just a club where like-minded individuals can get together and feel liberated. That is held in Joburg, and then there's also Repentance here in Cape Town. There is lots of Facebook groups, and once you start opening that can of worms, you start to kind of connect with people who will then go, oh, I know this group, and I know this event, and I know this space. There's Epicure and Heartbeat. There's a lot of places. I think it's opening the door to start investigating who are your community, where is your community, and the people that are like-minded that you connect with. So those would be some of the places that I can recommend.
Yeah, there are some here. There are some here also being recommended, but I'm too scared to mention them because I haven't checked them out. But as you say, thank you for mentioning those that you've suggested. They're new. Here's another WhatsApp.
Hi, Clemza. The fantasy of a threesome, it's there. I have it. I'd like to have a threesome with my wife, me and another lady and her, but I would not be open to the other way around. So no, it's a definite no. It's a definite no, Clemza. I cannot watch another man touch my wife. I would lose it. I would go mad.
Yeah, that's interesting. So on Twitter, Sia says, "Hi Clement, I'm a bisexual man that was once invited by my neighbor and his wife to come join them for a threesome, and it was fascinating." So this person is mentioning other things I can't say on the radio, but new. Does that complicate things? So where there's a straight couple, well, and I say straight maybe in inverted commas, but then the husband invites the guy who's a neighbor who stays in the same estate, from what I'm picking up, and says, hey, come join us. The wife consents, and they do that. Does it complicate it? Because then the wife probably asks, okay, but I thought you're straight, or how does it work there?
Okay, so I think that's a fantastic thing to bring up. If you're going to play with your neighbor, make sure there's some good boundaries because you're going to see them on a regular. So make sure that there's some good, clear communication around that. So the interesting thing is Clement, is what our sexual desires are do not define our sexuality. So there are a lot of people who may desire, like a male may desire to give oral to another male, does not make him gay. There is a female who may want to have a sexual experience with a female, does not make her lesbian. I think that that's where where the water gets a little bit murky, is that people assume that because you have this sexual desire to do something, that automatically means that you are this sexuality. And we start to put people in boxes. Where I think that if we undo the box and kind of keep an open mind in the sense of this is a sexual experience, this is something that turns you on for whatever reason, then I think we keep a little bit more of an open mind around that. It helps to broaden our perspective of sexuality and sexual desire and what we're into. So just because you desire the same gender doesn't necessarily always mean that your sexual orientation is that of that experience.
Yeah. Tandeka says, hi Clement, first and the last time I invited a friend into our bedroom is when my boyfriend did round 1 with me, 2 with her, and wanted to repeat and do round 3 with her instead of with me. And I was so hurt. The entire session ended abruptly, and before they could commence their damn round 3, she was immediately Ubered out of my house, and our friendship had ended on that day. Amadoda scam. So men are scammers. Okay. Ooh, that's not a good and again, that plays on that jealousy part we're talking about new, where I mean you're okay with your partner doing round 1 with her, round 2 with you, but then your partner wants to go repeat the third round with her and not with you. Yeah. Or maybe is it because the rules were not clearly defined before going into that experience?
Yeah. So I think, again, circumstantial, right? Because when you're in that experience, they may not have ever known that there would be a round 3, that he'd even be into having or have the energy for a round 3. So they probably didn't discuss it. However, I just want to normalize triggers, jealousy, and normal, natural human emotions will come up. They are inevitable. So knowing and having tools on how to navigate that and connection with your partner to be aware of each other as your primary is fundamental. If you don't feel like you have that, the toolbox yet, go and source that. There are professionals who can guide you in this. There are counselors, therapists, groups, communities on Facebook that can give you the tools within this lifestyle or this experience to know how to have a tool to handle that moment a little bit better. Again, we're humans, and there's a variability that happens here that we can't map out. Jealousy and triggers will come up. It's how you handle them and how you are aware of your partner and the open, constant communication. Again, consent is not a one-off conversation. It is continual. So being able to check in and be like, hey, babe, this is what I'm at. I'm conscious that you're here. Let's include you. Let's maybe make round 3 all of us together vibe. There can be a discussion that happens with that. If you are adults engaging in adult activities, you should have adult conversations about it.
Another one says, Clement, threesomes done properly are wicked fun. My wife and I recently got remarried and we regularly share girlfriends. Actually, we're looking for a gorgeous redhead at the moment. That's a message there from Anonymous.
I love that they're putting an ad out right now.
It's already an ad. Okay. Another one
Shout
says,
out to any redheads out there.
who's available? And then someone as Anonymous says, hi, Clement. Now, one's depravity will be on full blast. My partner and I love to mutually explore. Strip club visits, Mavericks and the Grand are my favorites. Threesomes and swingers clubs. We are exclusive and openly play together. Our communication is phenomenal and there's no much safety issues. We have never been this honest and open about who we have evolved to be. When this lifestyle no longer serves us, we will grow out of it. That's a message from Anonymous. Another Anonymous says, Clement, I was invited to become a third in a same-sex couple situation. Mine was to satisfy the versatile guy because the other one was a strict bottom. The bottom decided to end the engagement because the verse started enjoying it more. Fast forward a few weeks later, the bottom was texting me on the side to service him exclusively only. That's a message there from Anonymous. Another one says, hi, Clement. I want to remain anonymous here. I'm in a committed relationship. I once asked her about her fantasy and she said she would like to try a threesome with another male and myself. When I seem serious about it, then she says she was just joking about it. The problem is, I don't know if I'm mentally and emotionally ready for that. So please advise. What does this person do?
If you are not mentally or emotionally ready to engage in a sexual experience, do not engage in the sexual experience.
Yeah.
It is as simple as that. If you don't feel ready, don't do it. There is no obligation to do it. If you are intrigued to go and get yourself ready, then go and seek the tools, guidance, and support that you need in order to get yourself emotionally and mentally ready for something like that. But do not play with hand grenades if it's not necessary.
Yeah. Another one says, hi, Clement. We are a black couple. Tried to spice up our sex life with my wife by doing threesome, but we struggled to find a lady since last year. In fact, we don't know places to look at. We tried at the pubs, but we failed. I think this is still a taboo to many people. That's a message from Anonymous in Pretoria. You know what I'm loving about the people calling us and texting us new is, these are people who are partnered, who have had conversations with their partners about this. And for me, that says there is a conversation going on. People are having conversations about what satisfies them and what they want to try. They're becoming more liberal and not, just sitting and saying, oh, but culture says, or, even though I think about this and I watch porn of this and I fantasize about this, I'm just scared to do it. I love that people who are married are coming and saying, me and my wife, me and my husband are looking for something like this. So people are talking out there.
Absolutely. And it's so great to hear. And if you do, like the other caller said, if you do it right and there is solid communication, it dials up your honesty and communication in your relationship tenfold. Do you think you've got good communication now? Then you experience something like that, your communication goes up tenfold. And if you can do it and have good, clear communication and a trustful, safe relationship, then you're opening up to a whole other candy land.
And then someone else was asking that, hey, I hear a lot of people are really raising the issue of jealousy. So how can couples navigate emotions such as jealousy, insecurity, or their fear of comparison in these scenarios?
I think to normalize jealousy, be open to have the conversation, ask the questions, to be aware of your partner and where they are. Constant check-in and validation and reassurance are essential parts of soothing jealousy. And it's making sure that your partner feels safe enough to say, I'm feeling really jealous right now. I'm feeling really insecure. So you don't have to necessarily always pick up on the subtle body cues. That can sometimes be very difficult and I don't think fair enough to say that's the only source of communication. It has to be verbal. You have to own your jealousy and say, I am feeling a little jealous right now. I'm feeling a little insecure. Let your partner know and have that conversation to journey together so that you can find your way to more comfort, validation, and security within your relationship. It's normal, it's natural, and it will happen.
Yeah. Okay. Any last parting shots? New? It really, so there are lots of messages I'm getting from people who want to know where to try this. I know you've given us some places before. Yeah, I've just been reluctant to also mention some of the places here being suggested because I just don't know if they're legit or if they're safe for these guys. So I would rather someone call us and and say, yes, I've tried, I've gone and I can suggest this. Any parting shots for people who've been listening who are like, okay, I've been wondering, I've been fantasizing, and here's an opportunity for them to finally try it with a partner or talk to their partner about it. Or maybe they're single and they're thinking, I want to give it a shot.
So definitely, if you're interested in this arena, start off by identifying what you desire out of this experience. Communicate that to your partner. If you have a partner or partners, let them know where you're at on it. Begin the journey of the conversation. Make sure that you have the tools and communication and security within your relationship to go on this adventure. Be open to the variabilities of what this experience may bring up for you. Be conscious to prioritize each other in this experience, because at the end of the day, this is supposed to root you back to each other in strengthening your relationship, not breaking your relationship down. That is not necessarily the objective that anyone gets involved in this. Find communities, support, counseling, therapy of professionals who work within this space, who are willing to hold and guide you on this journey. Play in spaces that are safe. You will always know a good party if you go to one. Within the sexual health, like within the sexual arena, is that there's always someone who is what we call like the angels of the event. They are the people who are sober, who are walking around, making sure everyone feels safe. It is properly run by people who know how to run an event like that. There is always a master or mistress who are guiding the experience, who are making sure that there is constant consent, constant communication around that. And there are places and spaces that you can experience that. As mentioned, Joburg has the amazing Eden. I can highly recommend that. It's not a play party, so you do not engage in sexual experience there, but you're connecting with like-minded people. If you choose to go on beyond that, that's great. Also in Cape Town, Repentance, again, another club, not a sex club. It is a kink club that you can go and explore and connect with like-minded people. It is not a play place, but is again a place to connect with people. I think protect yourself, go slow, and make sure that this is something that you are.
GWMP 300 Bucky is where it all comes together. Ring it on in the all-new GWMP 300 from $6,999 per month. Visit gwm.coza for T's and C's and to book a test drive. Go with more. Go with GWM.
Dear Journal, trying to be an adult, day 3,247. My financial advisor asked if I was expecting any inheritance. I said, I don't have a trust fund, but I trust that funds will find their way to my bank account. He was not amused.
Recently removed from the family payroll? Get covered at pineapple.co.za. It's like 570 Rand a month, so it's 100% the insurance for you. Underwritten by Old Mutual Alternative Risk Transfer Insure Limited, a licensed non-life insurer and authorized FSP. Premiums are risk profile dependent.
Specsavers Audiology, South Africa's largest audiology group, brings you the all-new Clarity Pro rechargeable hearing aids. Experience cutting-edge features at a price you can afford. For a limited time only, buy one Clarity Pro rechargeable hearing aid and get 50% off the second. You heard right. Buy one and get 50% off the second. Visit specsavers.co.za to find your nearest store and ask for Clarity Pro today. Specsavers Audiology. Test your hearing and join the conversation. T's and C's apply.
It's Feel Good Friday, and Clicks is giving you a reason to celebrate with your shot at winning 2,500 Rand Clicks Club Card cashback on 702.
So earlier on, I told you that I want to make your Friday. I asked you to send me a voice note and tell me about someone who goes out of their way to help other people quietly, and they could stand a chance to win 2,500 Rand in Clicks Club Card cashback. And there's a voice note we've received from somebody nominating somebody.
Good morning, Clement. Good morning, Clement and the team. My hero is this guy. He's blind, and he helps our the team around our block. The team is they have 3 divisions. So last month, he bought the whole gear for them. The two division, he bought the whole gear, and then when they play, he buys water and sometimes food for the young ones. And then Clement, for that, I think he's a hero because he used his money for grant. He gets a disability grant, so he used that money to support these kids.
Oh,
That one, he is my hero. Thank you.
oh, that's amazing. And his name is Stanley Mhlanga, who's joining us on the line. Stanley, how are you doing?
Hey, hello, how are you?
Good, good, good. Well done on the incredible work that you're doing, man. You've been nominated as someone who quietly does good. So for that, we want to just celebrate you. So congratulations to you, Stanley. You are the person that's been nominated, and you've won 2,500 Rand in Clicks Club Card cashback. Thanks to Clicks. Feel good, play less. You're playing tomorrow?
Tomorrow we are playing. I think I'm going to get the boys power rates. Tomorrow we are playing a home game.
That's amazing. That's amazing. All the best with the game, Stanley. Thanks to Clicks Feel Good, Pay Less here on 702. You can catch us again next Friday for some Feel Good Friday for another chance to win. Thanks to Clicks. Choose your health. Choose Clicks with great health savings until the 20th of May. Buy any 3 Zimplex products, including skincare and adult, and get the cheapest one free. Save 20% on Vicks Flu products, excluding Rub, 10 grams now for 38.99 each. Get any 3 Vital products and get the cheapest one free. And buy any 3 BioPlus products and get the cheapest one free. Remember, use your cashback to save even more. Shop these deals online and in-store. Choose your health. Choose Clicks. Feel good. Pay less. All right, this is how we wrap up the show. Thank you so much for listening to the Friday edition of the Clement Manyathela Show. Time now for the news brought to you by Momentum. Go big or live within your means. The right advice depends on your context. Contact a Momentum accredited advisor today. Momentum is part of Momentum Group Limited, an authorized financial services and registered credit provider. Have a beautiful weekend, my friends. Bye-bye.
This is EWN.
Good afternoon. I'm Bali Dlamini. The Department of Cooperative Governance has found the appointment of Kagiso Lerutla as the Chief Financial Officer for the city of Ekurhuleni unlawful. This follows allegations that the recruitment processes which landed him the job were flouted. In a letter seen by EWN,